If there is any beauty in this world, you'll find Rezik just around the corner searching for it. He spent so many years hiding in his room, but now there is no keeping him away from trying to add a bit of color to this colorless existence. And of course, when you find yourself on the road going up against monsters and villains, a creative mind like his can do far more than just paint a pretty picture. This human wizard was trained in the military to use illusions to deceive, distract, and defeat their enemies. But now, he uses them to help his friends get around monsters, collect treasure, and entertain tavern goers. It doesn't take much to be his friend because he sees the potential in everyone. You're an empty canvas, and the story you create together dictates the colors he'll use to paint this very vibrant story.
Welcome to episode 2. How's everyone doing? I know it was like kind of a hectic week for everybody, but we made it here. We're ready to play. So we'll see you guys after this recap.
Oh, dearest mother, it is your darling boy Fitz. I have had the most unfortunate and unsettling set of circumstances before me that I must inform you of immediately. I rushed at once upon your invitation to reunite with you and Papa at our summer residence in Seacrest. Alas, with some bad advice from my hired guardian Dresden, we were beset upon by vicious and disgusting Philistines. I was encaged and humiliated, all in front of lesserlings and gnome, a halfling, and well, I don't really know what pup is. Maybe one of those uncast, though I don't think I've ever seen one before. Oh, it was horrible, and when I tried to explain to our captors their error in judgment, they laughed at me! Laughed at me! A Fitzwilliams! When I demanded to talk to their superiors, they branded my beautiful face! I have now been marked a white one, a criminal! I fear it will be costly, but as your brave son, I shall stop at nothing to restore the beauty and luster my cheeks once held. No healer too far, no cost too great for our family's honor. If we must go bankrupt to fix this stain, we as a family share. I am prepared to drain the family's coffers. Or I was, until Pup saw some strange beasts that Kelwise, the halfling from earlier, referred to as bullets. Large lizard-like creatures, truly horrifying. They hatched the most egregious plan for escape I had ever heard. They tied their belts together and formed a makeshift whip they used to spur on the horses attached to our cage. Well, as you can guess, what happened next gave me the fright of a lifetime. The horses agitated the bullets, causing them to charge our carriage enclosure. Fortunately, we escaped their influence. Unfortunately, we barreled straight into the Pottsonshire forest. Yes, cause of all childhood nightmares, place of nightmarish beasts and horrors, Pottsonshire. But it was not long before we hit a snag, sending our company crashing off a bluff to our almost certain doom. But you should know your son Fitz held his temperament and secured the young pup, saving her from the exploding carriaged Bastille. Though the dirty thing relieved her bladder upon me in fright, which I did not hold against her. We were freed from the cage, but not from each other. We were still chained to each other by steel around our manticles. But not long after our escape, our aforementioned captors pursued us into the terrifying forest. Dresden, in a horrific display, flayed the first pursuer, a boy not much older than me. For a second, my curious mind wondered what could have been with this young boy's life. Could that have been me? Had I been birthed into different parentage? Anyway, the rest of the group, including Pup the Halfling, Gnome, and Rezik, oh dear Rezik, a man with culture and refinement, I tell you, a man who truly knows and appreciates my splendor, brutally and savagely ended the second man's life. Now I do agree these men were not of fit quality, but protocol dictates that we stand above petty violence. If we are to give in, we are no better than those we seek to succeed, correct? The most curious thing happened next, though. A tiefling, only smaller, tinier, appeared before us. Apparently she had escaped the same confines and was equally attempting to evade capture. Though she was probably a criminal due to her birthage, I allowed her to join my brigade of misfits, at least for the time being. Dresden quickly broke the chains binding everyone but me. As the principal of this group, I should have thought I would have been the first freed, but alas, Dresden and his brutish ways called attention to our position, alerting even more pursuers in our direction. Thus, I carried the burden of the chain. Hence, we fled to Pup's domicile, which was more of just a few large rocks laying upon each other. I cannot believe such a young one has survived in the forest for so long. Maybe it was the enormous wolves who shared her substandard residence. The largest of the wolves, named Mother, a fearsome and incredibly strong wolf. Well, we immediately began removing our shackles, and despite a minor injury to dear Rezik's hand, those that mattered were freed from our bonds. Oh, huzzah! The small gnome managed to do one set with a simple set of metal knickknacks and trinkets. Truly curious. Oh, that is all for now, Mother. I will send you many more letters such as this one until we are reunited into each other's loving embrace again. I know how you worry. Oh, I say, was that an arrow?
And the Oscar goes to...
Oh, wow.
Oh, man. Dresden's standing right outside.
Is that an arrow?
And right beside you, this arrow, shoo, right to your left. You look down, and right as you look down, you notice something strange. The arrow didn't quite hit Mother. It landed just behind her. And as you look up, you notice just this black figure falling, and boom, it just grabs you. And you feel this cold steel right up to your throat, Dresden. And you hear the words, you're going to want to put down your weapons.
From right above me?
From right above you.
Damn it.
All right. I don't. I keep holding on to my sword. I'm playing it cool.
And you feel the steel just press in a little deeper, and it goes. And you kind of hear from off in the distance a soft voice. It's a little bit higher pitch. Says, "You're free, everyone. Get out as soon as you can." And then just that steel gets pushed tighter and tighter, and he says, "If you move even an inch, you darn Ashen Rider, I'll fillet you like a steak for dinner."
Damn it! And I drop my sword. You've made a mistake. I just raised my hands, just nice and easy. I took this off of an Ashen Rider. I'm not an Ashen Rider. All right, my friends inside aren't either. So maybe take this thing off my windpipe a little bit.
And you just kind of hear this, yeah, right. Exactly what an Ashen Rider would say. You think I'm an imbecile?
Can I kind of just like scurry over with the obvious?
Yeah. Yeah, young lass, make it to the tree line. I have someone there who can help you.
Well, he was helping me.
Thank you.
We were locked up together. Look at his wrists. You have eyeballs.
I think I am still bound, right?
But you would have the owies, right?
Oh yeah, no, they're still on there. They're just split apart. Right. Yeah.
The only one
so
not
he kind of looks at your wrists, and so you're not an Ashen Rider.
No, that's what I said.
I know, but you're wearing the leathers, so I just and he kind of just like slowly removes it and then pushes you off just ever so slightly and backs off, raising his hands.
And I slowly pick up my sword.
Okay. And when you turn around, you see this this tall man, except his hair is this fiery orange. His skin is like this bluish black color, and he's got this huge white beard. And it looks like all the hair on his body is like that bright fiery orange kind of color. He looks strange. He's humanoid, but he's got very like, and then when you really look, like he's got these like pointed furry ears. He looks very similar to Pup in that sense, where he's got like these animalistic features. And as that happens, you hear like some brush move from the distance where the arrow came from, and you see this tall elf woman, really dark tan skin, blonde hair and green eyes, pretty tall as well, slender, and she's just holding this short bow. And she kind of walks up, and she looks at you, Dresden, and says, I'm very sorry. I saw the armor, and we assumed you were an Ashen Rider, and we thought that maybe you were holding these people hostage. And we have. She kind of looks to this other guy. Where are my manners? I am Zuna, and this is my husband, Daladar. We are the Resistance, and they both kind of take this little pose, if you will. Well, so far it's just the two of us, but we are here to stop the Ashen Riders and free the slaves from the pits, as you know, that they head off to. Oh dear, it looks like you've still got those mantles on. And you watch as the strange Daladar, this he kind of, I imagine he's like a half fox, half man, kind of walks up and he just kind of pulls out these like twigs, and then he lights a twig right into the keyhole of your manacle. Just lights it, and then just fire kind of goes, and then the manacles just pop off.
Ooh.
And it's kind of walks. I think your manacles were broken. I think Dresden broke yours.
I think we broke them apart, but are they still on our wrists, or did the breaking them
broke
apart?
Off the chain, yeah, you broke them off. You guys, yeah. Pup was the only one who still had them on. One of the things you notice, Pup, is like the wolves seem rather calm. I mean, obviously you're used to them like not really taking to outsiders unless you make the introduction. They seem very, very calm, almost friendly towards this man, who's kind of they both have like this leather armor, but his is a little bit more like hides, just thick hides he's wearing on him. And he kind of just walks up to you guys and says, "We noticed one of your carts back there broke open, and we came to help you escape, but it looks like you've already escaped from these Ashen Riders."
Well, we haven't fully made an escape yet. There's still others out in the woods, but thank you, for one. And for two, there's a whining child in this cave, still locked up. If you could do that little trick for him, he'd be very grateful.
And just as you say that, from back behind the cave entrance, you hear, "Oh, are you talking about me? Oh, yes, please remove these dastardly things from my wrists immediately." And he kind of like takes a step back and looks at him, walks over slowly and does the same thing, and then when the fire comes out, you hear this, "Oh, you don't want to burn my skin. It's already been damaged quite enough." Oh. What are you? And he kind of looks at, and you notice from the first thing, Daladar kind of looks at you guys, and says, "Well, as you can see, I was born an uncast. It's not like I chose this life. It's not something, it doesn't change anything. I'm just a person. But as you know, uncast can pop up anywhere, and we just have random animal features. That's really it. I'm just a normal person like you and me. I mean, look at this one." And he kind of points to you, Pup, and says, "You got an uncast right there."
And then I want to take on the fox features instead of the wolf features.
And when you do that, like, yeah. So kind of explain what's going on.
So what happens basically is you all see, I usually have like my silvery like fox ears. It's like very gray and like scruffy. And then all of a sudden you see, because Daldar's hair is red, right?
Yeah. It's like the reddish orange.
Okay, so all of a sudden you see reddish orange starting to spread out over the ears, and they change shape a little bit from the fox ears to more resemble from the wolf ears to more resemble the fox ears. All my hair turns red. I basically turn into myself with like my features, but with like the same fox-like flavor that he has.
Okay.
Well,
Just kind of
what
like
do you know?
shake. And then what's happening?
Are you a magician?
I am a pup. I don't know. I'm just a pup.
You're. Oh well. Okay. Well, that's quite the neat trick you can do there.
And as I sneeze, all of a sudden I come up and I look exactly like the kid, the whiny baby. I look like Fitz. No, Fitz. Then I just have the exact voice. I say, look at you all. What is this?
This is
It's like uncanny. I look exactly like him. Same voice, same body, same everything.
This is fantastic.
Can I roll for like history or something, like knowledge of what this creature might be?
Sure.
What the hell is happening?
Yeah, absolutely.
What the frick?
Can I roll for the fuck? 14.
14. Okay, so you know that there's a race. It's not really even a race. There's a group called the Uncast, and they can pop up anywhere, like people, humans or elves. This Daladar looks almost elven, except he's just got these like fox features. And you know that the Uncast can kind of pop up anywhere, and they're just normal humans or elves or halflings or gnomes or dwarves. They just take on a random animal's features, and there's no rhythm or rhyme to it. No one knows why, but most cultures generally see them as outcasts and then disown them. So it's kind of not weird to see this guy like running around the forest. The Uncast, generally it's like seen as stain. Like you've heard stories about noble families just being like, here you go, here's the world, go explore, and then never coming back. Pup kind of looks like an Uncast. That's probably the best you could think of. You've never heard of an Uncast being able to like change from one animal to another. But from your history, I mean, that's probably the best idea you'd have of that kind of thing.
Okay.
And if not, maybe sorcery would be next.
Sorcery. I forget how I sound. I'll figure it out.
And Duna kind of walks up to you, Trust, and she says, you're quite tiny.
Yes.
Well, as I said, my name is Zuna. It is a pleasure to meet your acquaintance. What you are just trying to escape here out in the forest?
Yeah.
And are you headed anywhere afterward? Or
We was a bit preoccupied with the escaping bit.
oh, quite, yes, that's very important. All might I say, as I said before, we are the Resistance, just poking around, seeing if there's any interest in anyone who'd like to, I don't know, join us to overthrow a giant autocratic government.
Well, I mean, that seems like a lot, but can you put us up for the night?
Well, yes, we don't really have anywhere else to go for the moment, and as you said, you have friends sent to the pit.
Yes.
Well, I will tell you, we do have my daughter Freewin was actually taken, and that is where our journey begins. Well, it began there. We had our daughter taken by the Ashen Riders, and when we gave chase, they got ahead of us. And you notice, kind of for the first time, she wears her hair really loose, but you can see under this long hair, kind of like a mark on her cheek. And when you really get a good look, she's been branded a white one as well, with that hexagon symbol with the triangle in the middle. And she says, I tried to enter the pits myself to get her out, and unfortunately I was almost killed. Daladar here got me out, but we did not find our daughter. And I fear if your friends have made it to the pit, it's going to be very difficult to get them out, much less even hope for them to be alive anymore.
It's possible they're still out. Actually, they might still be free, but locked in a cage. We sort of separated along our way.
The cart on the beach. I saw them riding southward on the beach. It seems like they took off quite a time ago. There was a few of them, 2 riders and a carriage driver, headed south, and the rest of them gave pursuit. I assume they're still in the forest somewhere, but I do not know where.
My brother was in that cart. My priority is to get him back.
Yes. Well, I can say your best bet would probably be to join with us, and if we can take down the pit and the people running it, maybe we can stop anyone from being captured, as well as saving our loved ones.
So you say you've escaped from the pit before?
Well, I only made it into the fortress, and before they took us in, I had to escape. They have a large fortress with hundreds and hundreds of Ashen Riders walking around, not to mention many more within the mine themselves. 15-foot palisades along the outsides of this fortress. Plus the Ashen Riders who run around the sands, taking people for their mines. So our first thought was maybe to find allies to help us with this pursuit. And you were the first group that we've run into. Although we do have a contact within capital city itself, a man who calls himself the Bourgeois. Said to lend an ear to our cause.
Would I recognize that name?
You give me a history check.
May I do the same?
Yeah.
Oh,
And you give me the same trust. You lived
6.
in 6. Yeah, you've never really heard this name before.
I got an 11.
An 11.
10.
Yeah. Bobby, you've heard of the Bourgeois. It's more of like the boogeyman. You maybe heard it once, like a children's tale. Like he'll, if you're bad, if you don't obey your parents, he's gonna come and get you. More like a boogeyman story, but like maybe mentioned once, but never, seriously. Yeah. We have it on a pretty reliable source that this Bourgeois fellow is going to help us out. And he could be one step. Maybe we could get some other people in the forest, and I'm sure there's people within Capital City who don't like much what's happening in the pit either.
All right. But one thing at a time.
What's the pit?
The pit?
Oh.
Well, it's a giant mine where they force friends and family and prisoners under the guise of being a prisoner. They force them to work until they're dead.
And then I just kind of like tug at Cornelia's like sleeve.
What makes it mine and not theirs? What does that mean? What is it his? What is mine? What does a mine mean?
That's a good question.
It's like a man-made cave that they find, some kind of a gem or coal or something to kind of use as a resource.
Yes.
Core.
You drill through a mountain to find, jewels. Like we have mountains up
They
in the
may.
north.
This mine in particular is mine in Core.
It's yours?
And, this mine, the pit, it's going for Core. Core is that. So you guys would know Core is this element. It's this this stone that's like red, and it's very, very, very expensive.
Called
and
core?
it's super red, core, core, and a lot of magic users love this stuff because they can use it to enhance like their spells and stuff, or cast spells that they normally wouldn't be able to, or don't have the aptitude on their own. But it's super, super rare, and it's
Just
very, very
Minecraft redstone.
I know.
yeah. It's lapis lazuli. But yeah, that's the main export. Not that you guys have ever even seen this stuff. That's how rare it is, but you would have heard about it. Just as someone's like, yeah, here's the Hope Diamond, and you're like, I've never seen it, but I've heard of it. I hope none of you have seen the Hope Diamond. That would ruin my example. Yeah. So he's just.
All right. Well, I don't think our goals are separate. I think I can speak only for myself and perhaps for Rez, but we would be willing to at least help free our friends if you'll help us track down that other carriage. I wouldn't wish the pit on anyone. If you can help us with that, perhaps we can help you further down the line.
Well, this is fantastic news.
He said mine, but then it's his.
A mine. Well, a mine can be two different things. What's yours, what's mine. Also, a mine could be, a place where people pull ores and rare gems out of the ground.
Yeah.
Or what?
Yeah, exactly. Well, to commemorate you being the first members to join us, both Zuna and Daladar pull out these big, huge, what looks like water skins, but the second they pop them off, that smell, that familiar fermented, distilled alcohol, that smell just kind of wafts very strongly.
You say it's familiar.
Yeah.
do we recognize this, or are we just alcoholics?
No, you just recognize that it's alcohol. It's not water.
All
he
right.
takes a huge swig and then passes it on to you, Dalinar. Or Dresden, sorry.
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it and take a swig.
All right. And it's not good. It's strong. You can tell it's just not good. It's like
it's not. It's not.
It's like 151.
It's like an IPA, just gross.
It's an IPA.
I just hand it to Rez.
Thank you.
It's like an IPA.
Yes, just like an IPA. Anyone else?
I think I will join. My skills will come in handy, and I like to save my friends.
All right. Well, you got to take a.
Me too. If I'm going to save my brother, I'm going to need all the help I can get.
All right. And Zuna kind of starts handing another bottle. She kind of looks at you, Pup, and goes, "Maybe you're too young for this."
I forgot that I'm still in Spitz's. That I'm still Spitz. I think that I can do whatever I want because I am a pup.
Dresden,
Yeah.
I need you to do away with her immediately.
Dresden, I need you to do away with her immediately. She's mocking. Excuse me. Excuse me.
No.
I just start jumping up and down, clapping and laughing.
Yes.
Fitz,
Very well done.
if I knew which one was you, I would certainly do that, but I just can't tell the difference.
Obviously.
That one. And we just do like this Spider-Man meme.
Spider-Man. Yeah. You guys just kind of.
That makes me so happy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Fitz just kind of and like storms back into the one of the Fitzes. Storms back into the cave.
Drink then.
Yeah, well, I know which one's which now.
She hands you hers, and hers is it's more of like a mead. It's like a honey mead. It's got sweet kind of tones to it. And it's not something that you like. Yeah, it's very bitter to someone who's never had alcohol before. Yeah, kind of takes it back.
Thank you. This is quite swell look like milady, stinky lady.
Sticky lady.
Stinky lady. Yes.
Stinky lady.
And then I shake just back into normal pup.
Okay, I felt really bad saying that. Thank you. It was different.
Oh, well, would anyone else like to try? Perhaps you, to commemorate this day?
All right, thanks, though.
All right, well, we're just very happy to have all of you and that one in the cave there here with us. It's fantastic. I mean, we didn't think anyone would join us. It's such an insurmountable task that we just thought it would just be the two of us. But luckily, that's not the case.
Now it's surmountable.
Well,
Right.
as I said before, there's a fortress with 15-foot palisades around the outside and hundreds of Ashen Riders walking around. Not to mention, we've never actually been in the cave and we have no idea what's in there. They have the entire army of Capital City backing them up.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Yes,
All right.
I'm
exactly.
optimistic.
One thing at a
I'm
time.
saying there's a chance.
What's first?
The first thing is the other carriage. I know Rez and I have a friend in there. And some of you as well. Let's see if we can follow that. At
My
least find
sister's
out
in
what
there.
happened to our friends. Your sister's in there. And Kelwise, your brother?
Yes.
Does anyone else have anyone in there?
Yes, I have a close friend.
Not that I know of.
All right, well, we should check either way, right? I think if we can, let's follow that trail. You said you found them down by the beach?
Well, they were heading south. They were already leaving by the time we entered the forest. Maybe Daladar can do some scouting. And Daladar kind of like looks up to you guys and is like, I might be able to move faster on my own.
So did
Give
they
me half
appear?
a day, and I can try and track them down and see how far they've gotten. But they're on a horse-drawn carriage, so I don't know that you'd be
Did
able to
they
catch.
appear in control of the carriage, or was the carriage careening away?
The Ashen Rider seemed to be in control of it.
So the Ashen Riders regained control.
Yes, I didn't know that they had lost control in the first place. It seemed
Well,
like business as usual.
We set up a bit of a diversion. Perhaps our best bet is then to cut them off on their way to the pit.
Yeah, I was going to ask, how long is the cart ride to the pit from here?
Well, the pit is maybe a 3-day ride away.
Oh, okay.
It's maybe the better part of a week if we were going to be on foot. And the whole time would be on the blistering beach in the open where many Ashen Riders were patrolling. So it's going to be tough. We might have to join another
what's your name
caravan.
again? What's your
Daladar.
name again? Daladar. You're not making this sound possible at all, or like you have any sort of plan. So would you like to fix that maybe? Because I have a patronage I could get to, and I don't need to help anyone. But you're making this not really sound like we can do it.
Well, I don't know that you'd be able to free your friends, but if we worked together, we could, take down the pit and free them in a roundabout way.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like we'll be able to get there before if they've already regained control of that cart.
Well, if we could find a way to advance quicker, maybe... I don't know.
Horses?
Pop, yeah? What's it?
What if we rode those rock lizards?
Rock lizards. What's a rock lizard?
Personally, I
Bullets.
didn't plan on dying today.
What if we became friends with them and then rode them?
Did you see what they did to the cart?
Well, that was a mean cart. Are we mean?
I
No.
mean, I killed a child just a minute ago, so
Oh, well, that was self-defense. It's fine.
fair.
Is there any way that we can possibly have help from the wolves to maybe they could, I don't know, they can find a way to make a sled type device that could go on the back, and I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything.
I mean, we could just ride them.
True.
Most of
Most of them's a bit big for them.
Well, the small ones could probably ride. The people who are medium, though, maybe one could ride, maybe Mother, but the rest of the wolves would be too small for the medium-sized characters.
Is our cart all the way broken?
Yeah, that got like splintered, huh?
Your cart got exploded.
Just as much as the horse did.
Oh no.
Daladar, you said there's a beach between here and there that is the main pathway that's heavily guarded.
Yeah.
Can you describe that for me?
So between Capital City sits on a giant beachfront called the Blistering Beach, and it's this huge beachfront. And then on one side is the ocean, on one side is just really, really tall mountains, and so that's basically the only pathway in and out. And the Ashen Riders are known to just kind of patrol this beach. And there's a lot of people who, go up and down, merchants, nobles going on vacation, people trying to immigrate to Capital City. There are people who do it. Now, I mean, you would know that, if they saw somebody with the mark on their face, like Fitz, it would be bad news. But yeah, for the most part, it would be very hard to at least completely hide yourselves without maybe some kind of social camouflage or something.
Well, you're dressed like one. He thought you was one. Would they believe you was taking us somewhere?
That's a good idea.
Perhaps, but one Ashen Rider for all of us.
I could also be one.
And then I shake and I just grow into an adult-shaped man, just like a human dude. Very broad shoulders, kind of puffy, light brown hair.
That's amazing. Just whenever you want.
Yeah, I can basically change whenever. It's no big deal.
That's disturbing.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. I don't know. I've just been able to do it my whole life. So
fair.
Well, if we can make this ruse work, I can guide us along the coast. I know this area pretty well. This is my stomping grounds. This is where I do my fishing and my trading. I know this land.
Okay.
So you think it's faster to go through the beach?
We could potentially move faster. Yes. Through yes, we could move faster.
Yeah, Jason, you would know that unless you were going on the beach, you'd literally have to climb these mountains and then take a very mountainous, rocky terrain, which would take maybe a month to just climb through there. So it's really your only option.
Yeah.
At this point.
So it's mountainous terrain. Really, our beach is the only option. The beaches are. You know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense. These are my woods, so I totally understand what you're talking about. I definitely know all these mountains, so definitely get that it would be difficult to traverse.
Well, the only way we could possibly defeat them is if we beat them before they get to the pits. We have 3 days. They're on 3 days on cart, and we're on foot. So I don't know how we're going to be able to make it before they make it to the pits. Gosh, this is horrible.
No, this is rough.
They make water carts.
Water coats?
No.
Boats?
What?
Things that are like carts before the water. Do they make those? Do those go fast?
Boats.
If we're going, is that called a boat?
It's called a boat.
Yeah.
Yes, but the nearest dock would be Seacrest. And even if we made it to Seacrest, I doubt they would let most of us in.
Yeah, and then we would need a skilled sailor, someone to help us navigate.
Well, and a boat, more importantly.
Right.
Isn't
Well,
any royalties?
Fitz,
I mean,
looks
is
like
there
we're
any
just
way-
breaking out the pit. Yeah, I mean, nothing else to do.
maybe if we could talk to my contact, the bourgeois, in Raven's Nest, back at Capital City, and maybe they will have more information and could help us kind of decide what to do.
Yeah. I mean, you're the ones asking us to join you, so if you've got a way to do this, let us know.
So, James, just DM question. Capital City?
Capital City.
Separate and distinct from, like, King City?
King City. Oh, King City. No, that's a district within Capital City.
Okay.
Sorry.
Just making sure.
Yeah. And the Raven's Nest is a district within King City.
Okay.
Within Capital City.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Also, the problem is, I don't think if we went. I mean, if that's what we do, if we go to Capital City, I think we can't. That would be it. We can't save them before they get to the pit, right? It would be a different plan altogether.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's an option anyway. In all honesty, they're in a cart and they have hours ahead of us at least.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it that way, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, technically, we can't beat them on foot, so I don't know if the best thing would maybe to be go to Capital City, like they're saying, and try to find another way to save them.
Well, first off, we'd have to make sure that we got down the beach without being spotted. And then even when we get there, we'd have to figure out a way to get into the city itself. As you know, there's the big gate, and they don't just let anyone without papers in.
Well, they'll let me in. I know that.
A few of us have papers, so we should be able to think of something.
Why would they let you in?
I was, for a while, one of the city guard.
Same here.
Used to do some selling in Capital City as well. My precious emeralds.
Well, you'd need some merchant papers to get into the city if you wanted to sell emeralds.
Mm-hmm.
And you worked for the Ashen Riders yourself. And just kind of you would know that the gate to the city is run by the Ashen Riders, whereas inner city stuff is more handled by the Commission. So it's not that you wouldn't be able to contact your people in the city, but it wouldn't just be a matter of like walking up and being like, "Hey, Steve."
But would it be anything like, "I know Steve, and if you don't get Steve down here right now, I'll cave your head in"?
Yeah, you could try it.
All right,
But I mean, yes, yeah. I mean, that's only if you actually knew Steve, though.
Yeah.
Well, do we know if we were on a list and captured, or was it a random capture?
As far as you know, it was just random. I mean, you were just kind of hanging out, and then people attacked your whole operation, your family's operation, and then you were just kind of thrown in a cage with you and your friend. And you guys, and you guys would know you had at least Rezik and Dresden. You guys had papers, like citizenship papers for Capital City, which prove that it's just the papers you show that has all your information on it, and all that stuff was taken from you
right
when you guys were captured. So
it's not in the
though
card.
you have well, it might be.
I need to check that card.
I mean, before we move on to this other plan, is everyone okay with this? I know we have people here that have family members in the other cards. Are we all okay moving on to this other plan of going to the city and trying to find a way to save them that way?
Up here, our only shot.
I agree.
Okay.
Unfortunately,
I know one, so
on foot, and it looks like your feet are pretty small. We just don't have the speed to catch up to those carts with your friends in them. I do apologize. I know it feels terrible to be helpless like this. My daughter was taken months ago, and I still feel that same sense of hopelessness, but it gives me a great sense of wonder and excitement for the day that our reuniting will happen. I know
if
that.
we all get together, that will happen very soon, hopefully.
I can only hope.
Well, let's go overthrow an entire city. Let's go.
All right, I think we.
Well, that's the spirit, and you see Daladar pull out another like skin with just that really strong paint thinner. He just pops it off.
I'll
takes a
take a.
sip.
I'll like just grab from him and take a drink this time. I'm like,
Okay.
All right, I think the first thing we need to do is check the cart to see if any of our belongings are there.
Okay.
Good idea.
All right, so you guys are gonna head to the cart. It takes you guys a couple hours, as it did.
Well, should we rest here before and then in the morning start heading to the city, or just head now? It's
What
like
time is
nighttime,
it?
right?
What time is it?
It's like it's pretty dark now. It was like sunset-ish
dusky.
in the beginning, and it's been a couple hours, so it's pretty dark. It's the middle of the night right now.
All right, then maybe we wait.
And we can go get our stuff, and then I'll bring it back, and then rest here for the night, and then we can head out after we get our stuff. So we don't waste time in the morning. Or
Might be easier to see in the daylight.
so is
Might
us.
be
It'd be
easier to see
easier
in
to
the
see the
daylight.
daylight as well.
What was that? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
We are also easier to see in the daylight.
True.
People are looking for us.
She's not wrong. And you did say that there's more of those Ashen Riders wandering these woods looking for you.
All right, then let's go to the cart tonight. Look for any resources. Come back here, spend the night, and then we'll head out in the morning. Does that sound good to everyone?
All right.
Mother, can you come with us to help us keep watch as we go to the cart?
And as you kind of call out, she kind of walks up to you, and she's just enormous, and she kind of knocks you over with her muzzle and stuff, but very like affirmation Nelly rubbed up against you. I'm making up words. That's all right. It's all right.
Affirmatively? No.
Yeah.
No, affirmationatively.
Ah.
With affirmation, nudges you. I can't talk good.
I don't know why I didn't think of it before, but Dresden, do you think there's a possibility that these Ashen Riders that stayed behind might have horses, and we could maybe steal those horses after we attack and kill them?
Where do we even know what the ones that stayed behind are?
No, but I don't know. I'm still.
Or how many there are?
I'm assuming if we haven't
Set an ambush.
come across them yet, I'm assuming they probably met up with their counterparts. I don't know though.
Well, to the cart, I guess then.
If we see them on the way, we'll make a determination then. Does that sound good?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm just stuck on trying to save them before they get to the pits and suffer horrible torture. But yes, let's go. Make more sense.
Fair.
Okay. You guys start heading off, and it was like a good like hour and a half walk to Pup's home from where the cart crashed, and you guys make it about an hour before you start hearing like it's pretty loud noises, just brush, and you hear these voices kind of like squabbling, and they're a little high pitched, but you just hear like rustling and almost wrestling kind of off in the distance.
Do I recognize it at all?
Yeah.
Pup, as you know, there's
recognize it either?
You don't recognize it either.
Okay.
Do I recognize it?
I mean, it's just like brush rustling. It's not really like it's anything you can. Even the voices are kind of like muffled and stuff, so it's not really something you've heard before, especially not on the coast.
Someone try and sneak up to it quietly.
And Cornelia raises her hand silently, and you're like, nailed it.
Yeah, I do the like,
All right, Cornelia, give me a stealth check.
14.
14. Okay. Okay, so you start getting closer and closer and closer, and when you're almost there, you hear like, and then you kind of look through the brush, and immediately when you look through the brush, you're just right face to face with 3 of these little blue creatures. They're just a little bit shorter than you. They're like these short creatures with these big, giant black eyes and huge mouths, like just full of like broken teeth. And then they've got this giant leaf on their head and little pointy ears. And they're just like staring at you, not moving. And they're kind of like, mid-fight, they're just kind of like, just staring at you.
Yeah, it's so cute.
These sound like Zelda rejects.
So cute.
And then one of them's like, without even looking at his friends, like, and the other one kind of out of the side of his mouth is like, and they kind of slowly put each other down. And then one of them holding like, you can kind of see, it's dark, so it's really hard to tell. It's really dark, but you kind of see something slimy kind of wiggling in his hand. Looks kind of like a worm, and he kind of just puts his feet down, and they just start kind of slowly backing up. And then you see one of them bend down and picks up what looks like a spear. It's like a wooden spear. It's more of just a stick with a pointy end. And yeah, he's got it backwards. The pointy end is facing back, but then he starts slowly raising it up to you. And just right at you.
Come in peace.
And then one of them, even though they have those big old black eyes that are just most of their head, one of them just kind of,
Can I look around for a worm or a slug they were eating and hand them one?
Yeah, sure. Give me a perception check.
If I hear her like speaking, "We come in peace," I'm gonna try and go around and flank whatever it is she's seeing.
Okay. Give me a what was that?
I got a 7.
A 7. All right. So you're looking around. Not really there's no bugs. It's really hard, especially in the middle of the night, to find bugs. At least in the forest when it's so dark. Dresden, give me a stealth check.
12.
12. Yeah. So you start going around, and then instantly another one jumps up to attention right at you, Dresden, when you pop out, and you see this little like 2.5 foot creature, 2 to 2.5 foot creature with that leaf on his head and the big old eyes, just takes his little pointy spear. And this guy actually has the right way this time.
Of course.
He goes,
and I do the like physical version of that. I just sort of raise my palms, go like still holding my sword, but like without actually saying it.
Yeah, and then they're all just kind of eyeing you. It seems like they're just very intent on like whatever they do. Like we're gonna stab you if you try anything. Kind of like just pose, and they're like perfectly still. And the only thing you can see moving is this little leaf that's just kind of floating in the wind on their head. And it's strange, like you'd think the leaf would fall off, but it's strangely secure to its head. It's just like planted there. It doesn't fall off.
Planted there? Ew. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. This is Kate's last game with us.
I'm knowing you.
That's the fun jar. That's the fun jar right there.
On a scale of 1 to 10, like how cut and halfable do they look?
About a 10. These guys look real weak.
Okay,
But
so I don't.
You just don't know. There's something like, there's something weird about this. This is just a little creature, right? It seems sentient to some level, and you've never seen anything like this, right? And it's just kind of weird.
I want to say to everyone around me, maybe we should just move on. Maybe we should just leave them alone.
What?
Look like they're fine on their own. Maybe we just
Yeah.
Yeah,
on
they
going.
don't seem to need any help.
Can we see them?
You guys can't really see them from where you're at. You'd have to go up to the.
Yeah.
Assuming I hear that, I agree. I just start like sort of backing
Backing
up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
As
And then
he
as
slowly
you
backs
start
up,
back
I
up, they're gonna
slowly
be like,
tiptoe
"That-
forward. I'm
Yeah.
tiptoeing at him.
Are you gonna stealth? Or are you just kind of like right out in the open?
I'm going to like shake me into my normal form because I was still the dude. But I'm gonna shake me into me, and then I'm going to like I want to make it look like I am playfully tiptoeing forward in the same like I want to look
Okay.
as though I'm like I'm going to tiptoe towards you.
Yeah. So give me a performance check.
Yeah. Okay. 12.
12. Okay, so you walk up pretty unmenacingly, and both of them that were pointing spears at Dresden and Cornelia kind of point at you and be like, that.
Blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Kind of just like
Blah.
squinting.
Blah.
Okay, and you see one of them just start throwing a tantrum. He's like, bah. He takes his spear and sticks it in the ground.
Blah, 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 blah.
And then you see them, three of them kind of eyeing you, and then they kind of huddle together, still eyeing you, but
Oh, blah, 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 blah.
I think it's the same one like pointing at you like,
Blah.
If I can, as I'm backing up, I'd like to maybe just grab up by the collar or whatever and just be like, "And we're leaving." Kind
Yeah, and I'll go. Yeah, it's good.
okay. Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah.
Blah.
And I'm like encouraging them to come with us.
Give me a persuasion check. Another
Yes. Persuasion.
one. Yeah.
Okay. 12.
I did too.
12?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Okay. Yeah, so you're like, come on. And they're like eyeing you really, really suspiciously. And then they start following ever so slowly. Just kind of those like face full of broken teeth, just kind of they're just like growling ever so softly.
This is how I make all of my friends. Let's go to the cart.
And I've already turned around and I'm walking towards the cart.
You guys go to the cart, and they're not quiet at all. They're just kind of these loud creatures, and every so often they start like
Actions. Mm-hmm.
you know, they seem to get very, very transfixed on leaves. They like one will pick up a leaf, and the other one will pick up a leaf, and they get really, really excited. And
Do I notice this?
yeah, I mean they're not. Yeah, if you're watching them at all, they're just like ha ha.
I want to like shake myself into like a larger version of them and also start collecting leaves.
Oh God.
Okay. You start collecting. All right, so you start collecting leaves, and they almost seem like offended. They're like. The same one that was throwing a tantrum points at you and is just like.
I like hand one.
He like snatches it out of your hand. It just keeps on snatching them.
I'm just doing that as we're walking, so we're not stopped.
Absolutely.
Going.
So, you guys kind of get back to where the cart is, and yeah, it's just in tatters and pieces, and that exploded rubble is kind of everywhere. And those two horses that unfortunately were sacrificed in the bluff.
You're gonna say the
All
horses
right, we
were
don't need to
exploded
bring it up
everywhere.
again.
Yeah. So that's kind of the scene, and there's just kind of stuff everywhere. What are you guys searching for specifically? Like
Any of our
Our
belongings.
belongings.
Yeah. Okay.
Paper.
Give me an investigation check, those who are searching around. And again, this is by moonlight, so it's going to be a little bit harder.
I'll search for. I mean, I wasn't in this cart, but I'll search for something useful. Anything.
Likewise.
I don't think that I had anything, but I would like to search for cool things the same way that I have like all the trinkets in my house. Like I just want to look for something cool.
For sure.
It was investigation, right?
Yeah.
I had a 17.
Okay.
I got an 11, and I'm looking for useful items. Any useful item. Anything that strikes my fancy.
I got
Mine
13.
too with my 21.
Okay. 21. Oh, dang.
I got 21.
All right. And what'd you get, Pup?
I'm really distracted by the leaves. I got a 4.
And as you're doing that, you're like getting distracted by the leaves. He's like taking the leaves from your hand, and then he's like actively trying to run ahead of you and pick up leaves before you can.
Good.
It seems like this one, and you notice the one out of the 3, this one's a little bit more distinct because his foot is just a little crooked. And instead of running like the other ones, he's like hobbling a little bit. He's like hobbling really hard.
I love him.
And it doesn't seem like it's like hurting him at all. And it doesn't like, it's really not holding him back. This little kid thing is fast.
Yeah, but he'll include it in his college admission essay. Like he'll be like, I overcame this. And yeah, fair.
All right, Melissa, you find Cornelia is searching around, and you instantly find this small sack full of just kind of papers off in a bush somewhere, and it was pretty hard and hidden. Dresden, you as well find some kind of torn up sheets of paper. Dresden, yours looks to be like Rezik's citizenship papers for Capital City. Though they're a little battered, they're still like intact, it looks like. Mm-hmm. And then Melissa, you find a bag of like, it almost looks like a ledger of just like, and you find tally marks and like, it seems to be like a ledger of some sort for that group. And you find the name Calic written on it, and it looks to be like his dealings. And it seems like in the last 2 or 3 months, he's probably brought in over 30 prisoners, according to these ledgers. But you also notice that this place seems to have been picked clean. It seems like many boots have walked this area and have searched this area well more than the 2 guards that you found before. Right. So it does seem to be like someone came through here and swept everything and picked it clean.
I walk over to Rez. Lucky day, friend. Here's your papers.
Thank you. Thank goodness you found those.
Right. At least one of us can get inside.
Does this prisoner paper have names on it, or just numbers?
It doesn't have names. It just has tally marks.
So is there anything? Oh, it just tally marks.
Yeah. And while you're looking through that bag, you also notice, and it's really hard because of the it's just moonlight, but you do notice, and before anyone else can, a few like those leg bear traps, very, very carefully laid out under the brush. Like there's just a few branches that almost completely conceal them. And had the moonlight not flickered just perfectly, you would have never seen them. But you find a few of those.
Traps. Nobody moved. We got traps.
What kind?
I'm not sure yet, but I think we should investigate, see how many there are. I see a few over here. Moonlight's picking up some under those trees, those leaves.
Pup, don't move.
Blah, 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 blah.
Good.
And they kind of just
Good
look
job.
at you like, I don't understand. And they continue on and just kind of picking up the leaves.
Oh my god! If you chop one of these in half, Jaymes, I'm gonna kill you.
It's gonna be the one with the foot, and I'm gonna cry.
Jaymes, what season is it? What season is it? Like winter right now? Is it like summer?
It's like springtime. It's like not hot, but it's like brisk.
Okay, so I'm gonna minor illusion some like a floating like fiery red leaf, like very enticing to them, hopefully, to make them distracted to not like start walking around everywhere.
Okay. This fiery red leaf just appears. And how big is it? Is it pretty big?
Pretty big. Yeah, I'm gonna make it like.
So you make this giant leaf appear, and instantly, the three of them just kind of clock that leaf, and they just start trying to grab it. All three of them just going crazy trying to grab this leaf. And then when they realize that they can't get it, they just kind of like staring at it. And you can tell they just don't understand what it is and why they can't have it. And it's making them thoroughly perplexed. And they're just like, and then you see one of them, and it's so quick you'd almost don't even notice it. But one of them seems to just walk into a tree and then just pops out on the branch above on the log, as if just like two sides, and he's just like up on this tree branch.
Oh,
it's as if like if anyone's ever played Portal, it's very similar, just like onto this tree branch. And they're very upset. And the other two kind of walk up to you, Rezik, and they're just kind of like pointing at it, like, make it. I want it. I want it. Give it to me. Because I want it. Yeah.
Trade him for his hat.
Like, what's up?
Trade him for his hat.
Oh.
That's just.
I won't. I don't know. I'm just gonna make it disappear, and I'm just gonna just like trying to like calm them and make them stay here, and just like if you stay, I'll make it come back. Just stay here. Just while they're looking
give me a performance check, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. 23.
Okay. So you like make it disappear, and instantly they're just like, and you're just like, and they're like, all right,
Whatever.
All right, guys.
okay, Gypsy, I see you.
Whatever else we do tonight, we need to keep making Jaymes play these things because that's all I want for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
Come around.
Yeah. So it seems like two out of the three, you have them thoroughly just like waiting for your giant flaming leaf. Cornelia, you find these traps and you see that they're very well placed. You've have a little bit of experience with this kind of like bear trap type thing, and you know that you might be able to either just spring the traps to get them off, or you could disable them, or you could just point them out to everyone so that they don't do anything.
I say we just point them out and leave them.
Okay. Yeah. So you point them out to everybody. Everyone's pretty sure that they're like, okay, don't want to lose a limb. Don't go anywhere over here. So yeah.
How
Can we?
How big are
Can we
they?
actually disarm them and maybe pick them up? Yeah, and bring them with us.
Well, you'd have to disable them first.
How big are they?
They're not as big as like a bear trap. They're
Could I
clearly meant
throw
for-
them at someone?
Could you throw it at someone?
If looking at it, could we disarm it, and then at some point rearm it and throw it at someone?
You. Yes.
Yes.
You can.
Yes. Yes.
But there's a chance,
Yes.
just because of the way that these things are, locked into place, and they're very, very, I guess, loose. They're not like super, super, super tight. Like you just run the risk of them slamming down at any time.
All right.
Could slam down on your own harm.
Yeah.
Probably not likely, especially the way you're holding them. Clink, and then hey, but yeah, you could
All right.
definitely do it.
How much do you think they weigh?
They're only like 10 pounds. They're made out of solid metal, so.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna like break off a branch and like trip them and at least try and take one or two.
Okay, so yeah, you walk around just like clink, and then you notice your branch is like noticeably shorter. New branch, clink, and each time these things just boom, and you just hear it echoing just off the trees. It just that sound of steel on steel slamming faster than the eye can see. Yeah, just
All right. Let's move off a bit, everyone, just in case they were waiting. And if we can, I'd like to maybe go like 25, 30, 40 yards off, and then everyone just hunker down real quick, just for like a minute or two, just see if anyone comes.
Good idea.
Agreed. Let's
Give
go.
me give me a perception check, everybody.
$15.
15.
Oh, nice. Twinsies.
8.
11.
Where's my perception? Unnatural 20.
Oh, dirty 20.
Oh, nice.
All right.
Nice.
Nice. Oh, I can't finish that. Good times.
Nice rock.
So yeah, you guys kind of wander off and you guys kind of take cover, and you do start to hear rustling coming from straight in front of you. And it sounds like multiple sets of feet slowly moving on. You can't see because the trees are so thick here, but you can hear from behind the trees something moving ever so slightly, very, very slowly.
James, can I cast Mage Armor?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what does your mage armor look like?
Oh, so I just whisper, Metum, and you see my hand. I just do like kind of a line across from my shoulder to shoulder, and I kind of just draw as I go, like just like leather, kind of studded armor. And
Okay.
this kind of magically appears, and then fades away, and now I'm just a little bit more durable.
All right. Yeah. So you just see quickly Rezik just kind of literally draws armor on himself, and it just stays. He's just got this armor that's just kind of shimmering ever so slightly with that
All right.
magical hue. And you hear all of a sudden, you just hear that noise stop. And it's just dead silent.
Right. So we want to stick around to find out what that was or get out of here.
We could set up an ambush right now.
If we do that, I think maybe we can take their horses.
If
Who
they have
knows?
horses.
They have horses.
They're raiders. They have to
Can
have
make a
horses.
distraction, so they will like go towards the distraction, and we can all ambush them if you want.
You hear Zuna just under her breath. Nobody panic, but it seems we've been surrounded. Great. Our best bet is to go at them from one side or the other. But if we all move in one direction, we'll only have to fight them on one front.
Did Mother come with us? Didn't I ask for a couple,
Yeah.
like a wolf
Yeah.
escort? So like, how many of my family is there, and are they also seeing this? Like, where are
I just
they?
figured there was one. Just Mother came. Did you want to bring the whole? You can bring a whole escort.
Well, my idea was to bring like 3.
200.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to bring twice as many as there are people
You can bring 3 wolves. That's fine.
surrounding us. Yeah.
So they're with you. Yeah, it doesn't seem like they picked up this. It's like, as far as you know, they don't feel surrounded. Zuna's the only one who's kind of said we're surrounded, right?
Mhm.
Like, as far as you guys know, there's only people in front of you.
What are the little big-eyed kind of Furby things doing?
Yeah, they're still following. 2 of them are still following Rezik, and one of them was just sitting on that tree and just stayed on the tree. the little the Tiny Tim one.
Does he look like he's like doing anything different? Is he still just pouting, or does it look like he has his attention?
Well, you guys went pretty far away. The trees here are really thick, so you wouldn't be able to see him anymore if you left that area.
Well, Dresden, you're the strategist. What do you think? Just fight on one side right now, or try to split up and fight on both sides?
If we're actually surrounded, yeah, what we need to do is make one spear, sort of one line of people, and we just charge and try and break out of the circle, and then we can create a front that they're no longer surrounding us, and they'll have to face us as a unified.
Wait.
Brilliant.
How do they know who we are? Maybe they aren't sure what we are yet. Maybe we can pretend to be the same as those little creatures that are following us around. Maybe they would leave us alone.
You look nothing like those things.
Yeah, but it's dark, and we could hide in the bushes.
They don't seem like the passive types. I think they'd probably just attack all of us if we were little Furby things.
Well,
I think we need to make a break for it.
I've got a thunder wave spell I can do. Try and get everyone out of our way.
I think that might be the perfect thing to break open if we are in fact surrounded. If you cast it right where they are densest and we break through, that might be exactly what we need. What is it, Zuna?
Yeah.
Is she's the one who said that we're surrounded?
Yeah. And you see her, she slowly draws this long sword out of her belt, and you see Daladar kind of get ready, and his hands, you see him kind of pulling out some like leaves and different weird, strange trinkets out of his pockets.
How many, Zuna? Do you know?
I can hear 8, but there may be more. And as you hear that, all of a sudden in distance, kind of around that clearing that you guys had just left, you hear, shoo, and you hear, it sounds really angry. And from out of a tree, one of that same crooked, we're gonna call him Tiny Tim, just comes popping out of a tree right next to you guys, holding an arrow. And it's not in him, but he's just stomping his feet like, bah, 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 bah. And the other guys start screaming and stomping around, and they all pull out daggers, and you suddenly just hear
go
trees all around you. Everybody roll initiative.
Okay, this dice is going into jail.
Jail.
We did a +2.
18.
18.
17.
That's an 11 for me.
7. 18. 17. 11. 7. What did you get, Jason?
17.
Oh, 2 17s. Who wants to go first?
I got an 8.
Ooh, Nate.
I got a 10, by the way.
Oh, you got a 10.
Who was the other 17?
Oh, I thought Bobby said 17. That was my bad. Okay, sorry guys. I'm taking on traits of the small little creatures.
I love.
All right, so it goes. We have Dresden, and then we have Kelwise, and then we have Trust, Rezik, Pup, and then Cornelia. All right, everyone, remember your orders. All right, here we go. All right, Dresden, you hear that little thing comes popping out, starts screaming and stomping his feet, and instantly you just hear movement all around you. The brush, there's no more. Yeah,
just heading, just wherever the closest edge of where we're surrounded is, that Zuna would have pointed out. I'm just gonna sprint that way in my defensive stance and just try and just blast through anyone that I see.
Okay. You start busting through, and instantly you come out of a brush, and you see 4 dark figures in that leather, the dark gray leather. All of them have short swords drawn and they're kind of coming straight for you.
Since I'm also wearing their leather, I just shout, "Where are they?"
Okay, you yell, "Where are they?" And then you hear a voice, "What? I thought they were with you."
And I just look around, confusing, and then go and point and go over there, like I hear something.
Okay, give me a performance with advantage.
Natural 20.
Oh,
Let's go.
Instantly, they're just like, "Well, what are we waiting for?" And they go busting out like just quickly the way you pointed.
Yeah, and I start to run that way, but like.
No, you're too fast. Don't. Oh, you got it. Instantly, they go busting through. Kelwise, you are next.
So half their number just went running one direction.
Well,
I think
Dresden went running one way. Then you hear him being like, "Where did they go?" And you hear Dresden being that way, and you hear them kind of heading off that other direction. But then in front of you, you do hear that whatever group was in front of you is coming, and these guys were clearly like behind you, and you didn't really know that they were on your tail.
Okay. So I think I would like to hide, first of all.
Okay.
Ready in action. I think I have, if I recall correctly, I was holding an iron bar at some point in time in the last episode.
So yeah, you can hide. You can hide as your, you can use your action to hide, but you won't be able to ready in action until next turn.
Okay.
So you can totally hide though.
Let's go with hiding. I would like to move maybe 10 feet or so away from the group.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
$21.
21. Okay. Nice. Okay. So you kind of just like take that bar and then you go shook into a bush, and you're just kind of hiding there in a bush. And the 11, that was
Me.
Daye? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So, Trust.
Yes. So they're behind us? Is that what you said?
So there was some that were behind you that you weren't aware of, but
Right.
But Dresden was like, they're over there, and then they went running off into another direction. But in front of you, you heard like coming from that clearing where the traps were, and your cart was. You hear another group feet coming that way.
So there's 3 groups essentially. One that ran off, and then one behind us, and one coming from another side.
Sorry, no, there's 2 groups. One that was behind you, one that was in front of you, and they were closing in, and then Dresden managed to take the group that was behind you and detour them off into a different direction.
Okay, so then the ones coming towards us, I'm actually gonna cast. Would you say they're 30 feet in front of me at least?
They're not 30 feet yet. They're still back there behind. You guys kind of ran off maybe 45, 50 feet away, and you can't really see them, but you could like maybe hold an action because it seems like they're dashing towards you, and you could kind of hold your action until they all ran up to you, if you wanted to.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hold my action until they run up to me. What was I gonna? What? Oh, okay, yeah. I'm gonna hold. What am I gonna hold? I'm gonna hold Earth Tremor.
Okay. So just as you do that, you see 4 men, as well as that one more guy with that shiny eagle helm, and that he's got like a flanged whip in his hand, and you see those guys just kind of come out from the brush and trees in front of you and come bolting towards you guys. So Trust, you can cast your spell.
Okay. It's just a dexterity save for your dudes.
Oh, okay.
It's dex save 13 for anyone.
Okay.
In
and
the
then
area.
What's the damage?
On failed save, creature takes 1d6 bludgeoning damage and is knocked prone.
Okay. So give me 1d6.
Oh. 5.
5. All right. You see everyone but that guy with the eagle helm kind of just like, and then just fall onto the ground as this, the one guy jumps back and like looks up at you and just pegs you square. And you kind of see his eyes have this like green kind of glow to them. It's almost like he's got this shimmering.
I'm so sorry.
Square.
I'm glad. Okay, yep, that's so good.
Anyways, you see like the outline of his eyes, like the whites are kind of glowing greenish in this weird kind of like miasma. And as that happens, he jumps back and the other guys fall down prone. And as they start getting back up, he drops his whip, pulls out this short bow, pulls it back straight at you, and just this arrow comes flying straight towards you. And you made this tremor wave go through. He jumps back and he fires an arrow, and it just goes straight for your heart, and it hits you just right in your chest, dealing 7 damage.
I am small.
Right into you. This guy just had your number. And then he bends down and picks back up his whip, but doesn't advance any farther. Yeah, so Dresden, you just see the rest of those guys, those 4 guys that were having. You just hear them keep booking it. They just start double timing it the direction you pointed. And you hear like one yelling out, "Kalak! Kalak! Kalak! There, we're on the tail, Kalak!"
Are we on a bit of a path or anything like that, or is it just ramshackle through the wood?
It's just Temple of Doom.
I'm gonna spin on my heels and head back to the group.
Okay. Rezik.
Yeah.
You just saw Trust take an arrow straight to her chest.
Blimey!
I'm gonna see that, and I'm gonna in my head be like, okay, I want to protect Dresden, but I think he's probably okay right for now. So I'm seeing this, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna defend this person, and I'm gonna go ahead and send out all of my magic missile at Kellic, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Give me some damage. What does your magic missiles look like?
I'm a tiefling, racist, not a person.
Let's see, magic missile. So yeah, I just under my breath, I say, Lumai, and you just see my hand go up, and I kind of just like basically twist darts from like being like nothing to being like arcane darts. I kind of like twist it into reality, and I throw them like and twist them one at a time. I throw 3 of them, I believe. And let's see here. Okay,
I
so I need
just,
to
shout from the ground.
3d4
Nice one,
plus
wizard!
3.
Just like, get him! My leg bleeding on the ground.
Or like,
Get him!
Okay, so that's 10 damage.
10 damage. All right, so you see these 3 darts just as this pure force energy just smashes into this guy, and he just kind of stumbles backwards. You're clearly like winded by these darts, and he just kind of gets this look in his face. You just see this pure rage on this guy's face with those green glowing eyes, and he's now just right on you, Rezik.
And I'll try to take cover if possible.
Okay, so then you just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
back up behind a tree. All right, Pup, what are you doing?
Am I close enough to any of them? To like,
So they ran up and then they got knocked over by the by the tremor. So yeah, you're totally close enough.
What about the one that I saw hurt? How far am I from the one that hurt Trust?
You'd have to run. So he was behind the other. He jumped back, and so you have the 3 guys who are on the ground getting up. Or 4. Sorry, there's 4 of them on the ground right down there, and then one of them's maybe 10 feet. That one is 10 feet behind them. So he's maybe like 25 feet, 30 feet away.
Okay, so I'm gonna go beat him up.
Okay. Let's do it.
You're my new friend, but I'm gonna defend you anyways.
And then I'm gonna run over and just punch him.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna run over and punch him.
So you guys see, you see her just kind of like nimbly, like just whip around these guys who are on the ground getting up, and then just go
nimbly
straight
bimbly.
Nimbly bimbly from tree to tree.
Wait, so I'm running past these guys that are on the ground getting up.
Yeah.
Can I just like, just for flavor, just like parkour, like step on their faces so they smack their faces into the mud?
Yeah.
Acrobatics check.
Right.
That's awesome.
15.
A 15. All right, yeah. So you guys see Pup just kind of like using them as stepping stones, and one guy's halfway up and then back into the mud. Back into the mud.
Cool.
Yes.
And then she just jumps up into the air, fists raised. All right. You see just a little bit of a look of confusion in those green eyes.
16.
16 hits.
That was some like Jackie Chan choreography. That was awesome.
Thanks. 6.
6 damage.
And for my bonus, I'd like to smack him again.
Okay. Yeah.
11. Oh wait, no, just kidding. I'm bad at reading. A 14.
14. So you punch him once in the chest, and as you go to punch him again, he kind of twists to the side, just dodging your punch, and it seems like he's pretty winded from this hit. And as he does that, and as that happens, you hear and three little things just pop out of the tree from pretty high up, spears ready, and they come on those guys that are on the ground. They just fall with these spears. Just
Yes!
We're gonna see if 1, 2.
Oh.
Okay, one of them has the spears the correct way. The other 2 have the blunt ends out. So let's see how this goes. All right, so the one who has the spear the correct way just right into the back, like the shoulder blade of this guy. Yeah, dealing. Oh God, you see him just the even though it's wood, that wood tip goes through the leather and then into the mud, and just the force of it just pins this guy into the mud via his shoulder. And then the other 2, come down and just boink, and the sticks go out of their hands. And then immediately upon landing, they like, and then they go into a tree and just disappear.
Oh my God, it's awesome.
These things are the best.
So now one of those guys is now pinned to the ground, and you hear him screaming like, "Oh, get me out of here!" All right, Cornelia, you kind of see Trust on the ground. Pup has just super punched this guy, and these little azurlings, or whatever they're called, drop down from the trees and stab into the ground and then disappear.
Yeah, this is all very inspiring. I think I'm going to kind of mimic everybody here and do a little jump as well, see if I can keep the guys down in the mud. And then Pup is near the main guy. Can I potentially do a sneak attack then, if she's there?
Yeah.
Right
Well,
next
it's pretty far away. You wouldn't be able to like sneak up to him, but he is right next to her. So if you just wanted to like bolt over there, you could probably make it there and join the fight. And since she's within 5 feet, you'd be able to get your sneak attack, but you wouldn't be able to like sneak up on him per se.
Yeah.
You could just
Yep.
come out swinging. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely.
Let's do that.
All right, so you guys see like these small, like maybe size 3, maybe size 4 size little booties just come flying through the air quickly. You should through the grass, and then all of a sudden, right by you, pops out this little halfling, and despite you just running out, it doesn't seem like gnome. Sorry. Gnome. Just pop out right up next to him. Make an attack.
Arg. 7.
7. Okay, so and what are you attacking with?
I picked up some of the wreckage too, so like a bar or
A metal bar.
whatever,
Okay,
whatever.
so you go and you just jump out and come swinging and bang! You hit a tree right next to him, and he kind of just it didn't even seem like he knew you were there at first, but then just kind of like and you can kind of see that look of like anger that was in his eyes slowly changing to more of like he's like his eyes are starting to dart around a little bit. Seems a little less sure of himself. And at that same point, Daladar runs right over to you, Trust, and then just rips that arrow out of your chest.
Oh, Jesus.
And then takes his hand and puts it right on your like right over the wound, and starts chanting. And you start to just feel that pain just starts to numb, and you kind of look down, and that flesh that was opened just starts to close up ever so slightly. And yeah,
Oh, that's the guy, and I said, "Oh gosh, I thought that was the bad guy." I was like, "No."
No. Daladar's the.
Then I was like, "Wait, why is he healing me?"
Yeah, and you get 13 points of health back.
What if that's more? Just go to my max.
Yeah. Just go to your max. And at the same time, Zuna just pulls out her sword, just dashes up to the 2 other guys on the ground. Whew. And she just turns into this like crazy whirlwind of blades, just dancing around. So she just does this. It's almost like a dance. The elves are so elegant in the way that they fight. It's like no movement is wasted. There's no extra energy in her movements, and you can tell she's just been practicing and training with swords like this for a very, very long time, and it seems very natural. And you just see her just in an instant. You just see these 2 guys half up and then just fall into the ground, and you just see these little nicks all over their bodies just start gushing all over them, and they fall down dead. All right, and Dresden.
Hey,
give me a perception check, Dresden.
okay.
Hey.
Yeah.
No.
No, I don't want to give you a perception.
That's a 7.
7. All right. Yeah. So from what you can tell, these guys are still running off the direction you pointed them to. But it's hard to tell. The farther away they get, the harder it is to tell, like, the relative distance.
Yeah, so I was just last turn was just booking back.
Yeah.
What do I see when I arrive?
So yeah, you book it back, and you see Daladar's got his hand on Trust on her wound. And you see her kind of lying on the ground. You see 2 dead guards, one still trying to get up, and one with just this one of those stabs through his shoulder blade. And you see Pup and Cornelia just assaulting this the man with the eagle helm.
Oh yeah, if I can reach him, I'm going straight for him.
Okay.
Dude. Can I reach him? Do I have enough? Okay, sweet. Yeah, just right up there, and I'm just gonna try and just run him through with my sword as best I can.
Okay.
1 stabbing, please. Oh gosh.
We are fresh out of murder today, sir.
Yeah. That's an 8. Do we have any 8s?
Yeah. B8. Yeah. So you dash over there, and it's dark. Remember, it's super dark. So like, you're trying not to hit Pup. You're trying not to hit Cornelia, because you're like, it would be counterproductive. So yeah, you swing and you just swing way wide, in a stabbing motion. You swung in a stabbing motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say that's a thing. It is a thing.
Swing and a miss.
Yeah. All right. Kelwise, you're in this bush, and you see the same stuff happening kind of in front of you.
Yeah, so I
also give me a perception check. Sorry.
Okay. $12.
12. All right. Yeah. You still hear those people kind of running off in the distance. It almost seems though that like they're not getting any farther though. Maybe they're doubling back. Maybe they're just searching the ground. I don't know. It's hard to tell what's going on over there, but you do hear those people back there that Dresden misdirected, kind of not trickling off in the same kind of auditory way that you kind of would expect for someone running away from you.
Okay. Okay. In my bush that I'm in, first of all, I stand up.
Thank you for
mystified by the fact that I saw 2 other people who are as short or shorter than me just run directly at enemies, guns blazing, as it were. I'm amazed by that, so I seek to follow their lead and rush whoever is still alive on the ground. Presumably in the.
There was one guy standing up, and then one guy pinned to the ground. So you could rush the one guy who's still trying to get up.
Yeah, let's rush that guy, and I want to take my metal pole, the pointiest end that I can find, and just jam it into the back of his neck.
Oh, okay. Give me an attack.
Nice. Sick.
Super dark.
Yeah, that's a 3.
Never mind.
You jump up, you take that pole, and then splosh right into the dirt right next to him. It's kind of like muddy and wet. And the guy just jumps up right, and like.
Let that be a warning.
Unexpectedly, yeah.
Can I bonus action kick him in the shin?
That would be an unarmed attack. Unfortunately, no, unless you're dual wielding. If you had like a light weapon, maybe you could, but this is like a heavier weapon, so it took a little bit too much. So unfortunately, no. But his shins tingle a little bit with the thought of being kicked in the shin. Maybe that's the part that I would need to be careful of. All right, Trust. You just got shot and then unshot.
Yeah. I'm going to jump up. Be like, thanks, mate. To not Dresden, Dalamir? Daladar. And then I'm going to cast Vicious Mockery at Helmet Head.
Okay. And what do you say?
And I'm just gonna stand up and I'm just gonna be like, "You filthy wanker! How dare you go at me like that? You pick on someone your own size! You're an absolute coward coming after people who've done nothing wrong! You are trash!"
All right.
And your mother smelled of elderberries.
And he fails his save. Roll damage.
Yes!
1d4.
Kill him.
1d4. Here, d4. It is a 3. And he have disadvantage on next attack roll.
Okay, so he takes 3 damage. As this is happening, you see Calic just kind of like being bombarded by attacks, and he reaches into his pouch, pulls something out, smashes it onto the ground, and you see this purple mist start to just shoo all around you guys. And that's where we're going to take a break. Hey! We're going to take a break. We'll be back in a little while to chit-chat, and then we'll play some more. All right, guys. So you saw Calic just pull something out of his bag. You didn't really know what it was, and you hear this crash, and all of a sudden this purple smoke just surrounds you. Everybody who's around Calic, which is the three of you, I believe. And
Three of who?
The three melee combat with Calic, yeah. You did vicious mockery from a ways. Those three,
Right.
and then Jason, you and Zuna as well, as the cloud just kind of disperses very, very, very quickly. Give me a Constitution saving throw, everybody.
Everybody or just those close people?
That's close. Sorry, everyone but you and Rezik.
Cool. Wizard or magic people.
Got a 6.
19.
14.
19, 14, and then Cornelia.
6. Oh.
That's the trick.
I don't want to say.
Okay, well, that's fine. You don't have to say it. You definitely don't have to say it.
It's bad.
All right.
Not a 1 though.
So it seems like
They're not a 1 though.
Dresden is the only one who really is able to shake it off. This purple mist. You just feel it go into your lungs, and all of a sudden you look down and your mind tells your body to move, and it just doesn't. And you start to feel slack, and you feel your legs start to give out, and then just onto the ground. All of you just fall, including Zuna, just fall completely paralyzed onto the ground.
Well, great campaign, everybody.
As Calic jumps back. You'll get an attack of opportunity.
Yeah, I will.
Jumps back and he looks over his shoulder. Roll your attack.
Yeah. Okay, I gotta cradle my dice tower again because it worked.
Yes.
17 plus 5, so 22.
1. Yeah. All right. Yeah, you hit. Give him damage.
17 plus 5 is 22, isn't it?
Carry the 7 and
You're right.
Yeah. Give me the math, man. Over here.
Sorry, I was saying
your math pants
as in,
on.
like,
I'm saying literally 1.
5 is 1, not
Oh,
21.
Like one, like
One,
after you shoot
Yeah.
the free throw and you and one.
My,
I get you. Yeah. No,
That's my failed attempt at sarcasm. Maybe the sarcasm was too big. So you couldn't see the other side.
Straight in the jar. Put it in the jar right now.
It's uncomfortable.
Thank you guys. This will be my last stream. Yeah, we really need the prices right sound.
Wait.
All right, you hit. Great. You hit with your sword.
Yeah, but I also insult him. I'm like, you're gonna have to do better than that, and I hit him with my sword with the sharp
Nice.
part.
Okay, how much damage? did you do?
Pointy end.
Oh yeah, that's right. I have to roll damage. The pointy end.
I mean, you don't have to roll damage.
Oh, okay, 20. 5. 5 points. Yeah.
Okay, so you cut him pretty deeply on his left arm as he's jumping away from you. He kind of jumps out, and it's hard to see because of that purple miasma that's all around you. But you hear from the distance this gruff voice, and you kind of feel like he's talking to you, Dresden, and he's just kind of like, I'm going to find those that you care about most, and I'm going to gut them slowly, and every breath they breathe will be one of pain.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough to do that from the afterlife, asshole.
Sounds like a desperate man.
And and you kind of hear, you hear like his steps as he's like clearly booking it.
I don't know if it's my turn, but F that. I'm
It is
running
not
after
your
him.
turn. As that's happening, Rezik, give me a perception check.
Nat 20.
Okay. You
See into
hear
the void.
you hear a whistle like way off in the distance, you hear a whistle, and what was maybe once 4 sets of footsteps sounds like 5, sounds like 6, sounds like more than you can count. It sounds like you heard this whistle way off, and you hear kind of people congregating, not necessarily coming towards you yet, but you hear, more footsteps than would be, a good idea.
Comfortable.
You can count. As that's happening, Kel-wise, you just jumped up with that metal pole and you slammed it down on the ground next to this guy. This guy jumps up, has his short sword ready, and just tries to stab it straight through your heart.
Rude.
What's your armor class?
Armor class is 13.
13. Okay, so you just barely. He stabs at you, and you just barely, and just it goes right under your arms. And he turns, kind of looks at his surroundings, and then bolts. You get an attack of opportunity against this guy as he's just like trying to bolt out of here.
Yeah, let's take it.
Hold on, he's a coward.
Let's try to jam that metal rod into whatever soft, fleshy part I can see.
Okay. Well, he's turning away from you, so.
Gosh.
Here's where the big go.
Yeah, that's not good. It was only a 5.
Okay. So you dodge out of the way and you try and counterattack this guy. Unfortunately, aiming specifically for the fleshy parts, it was harder to hit, and you swing wide as this guy just starts booking it away from all of you guys. As he's doing that, he passes Zuna, who's also right next to you, and she. Yeah. So this guy, he like dodges under your pole as you swing, looks up, and as he's looking up, this long blade just right into his throat as he's moving forward, and she just stops him cold in his tracks, and then out, and he just falls down dead.
Ooh.
Nice. Yeah. Rezik.
Stand close to Zuna.
So Rezik, you heard these footsteps, like multiple pairs of boots.
Yeah.
Stop it. What are you doing, Rezik?
Okay, so were those footsteps back where those guys were running away in that direction, or are they?
Yeah. It seems to be coming from where the group that Dresden kind of misdirected.
Okay. Shoot, and I'm seeing Dresden is like running towards Kellic, who's running away. I think I'll just stay with this group for a little bit. I'm gonna try to because I was in cover. I'm gonna try to come out of cover and kind of slowly go around the group on the other side. So I'm not gonna be the only one back here alone when they get to us. And I'm just gonna be kind of whispered out to the group there are more coming. Do we want to run or do we want to stay?
Okay. And what do you hear back? What do you guys think?
How many more?
I would like to search the guy with the helmet.
He's gone.
He just ran off. He just bolted.
Because I thought he was dead.
No, he threatened to kill my family slowly, and then
Who did she just kill then? I'm so confused.
It was just one of the random soldiers. There was a mercenary that was getting up off the mud. Yeah,
Boring.
rando.
He fancied
Rando
himself a writer.
Calrissian.
I'll search the randoms then.
Okay, give me an investigation check.
So
That's
wow,
not gonna be good. That's a 5 + 2, 7.
Yeah, so this guy had that. It looks pretty standard issue. He's got a short sword and a short bow, and a few arrows on him. You don't really find anything else on his belt or on his person other than that and the armor that is fastened to his torso.
Okay, can I take the sword?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, please take the sword.
Thanks.
That's what it is now.
Appreciate it.
And you pick this up, and
Same.
because he's the human, this is it's a pretty hefty weapon for your size.
It says I'm proficient. Oh well, that would be if I'm not tiny, huh?
No. You're proficient with it. I'm just saying, like, size-wise, short sword to him, but to you, it's like
Normal sword.
Long sword.
Yeah.
Great sword with accompanying damage.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sure.
The accompanying damage is a minus 1d6.
Damn
Yeah. So you got this short sword.
Sword.
Short sword.
Short sword?
I'm gonna name it my sword.
Short sword. Which is the
Sean
worst
Connery.
weapon ever.
That's my goal from now on, is to find some magician armor metal maker who will make me a short sword.
Short sword. Short sword. You know, instead of diving into this, we're gonna move on to Resnick.
It's just continuously sharding.
We're
Oh my god.
We're gonna move on to
It's whoever you hit with
Resnick.
it.
Yes,
you guys,
whoever you hit. Yes.
Jesus.
It's my goal. It's my
I don't want to
goal.
bring. You know what? I don't even want to bring him into this. Rezik runs up, lets you guys know that there's more forming up into a group, and they're coming, and they're on their way. What are you doing, Pup?
Cornelia and I are
You guys are, poisoned and paralyzed.
poisoned and paralyzed. So
Red.
So
shit.
no reply.
How many does it sound like are coming?
You asking him?
Can't we just run away?
I'm like I got paralyzed like mid.
Oh, they're paralyzed.
I can't.
Yeah, you can absolutely run away.
Can't
Yeah, he hears
move.
more than like anywhere from like 10 to a dozen.
Okay, yeah, no. Two paralyzed
Pick 'em up.
people
Let's
next to me? Yeah. Just grab at least 1, 2 if they're small enough. I know who exactly is paralyzed?
We got Pup, which is paralyzed. We have
What does Pup weigh?
Cornelia.
Roughly.
Oh my god, you can't ask me just how much
Yeah,
I
I'll
weigh.
pick up Cornelia.
I think I weigh like 120. I'm like 5 feet
Okay.
tall.
Okay.
Like 15?
25
Oh, really?
pounds.
I'm 5 feet
I thought you were
tall.
Oh, wait, no,
taller.
that's
I'm a kid.
All right. I'm a kid.
And I'll pick up Cornelia because
You're
I'm
also
very weak, but
earlier.
she's
Okay.
tiny.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, Cornelia doesn't.
I
do
can
it.
help
Yeah,
with
and then-
legs.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I'll grab Pup then. I'm strong enough to but I can't get 2, so I'll grab Pup and do fireman's carry. Are they like
Oh, I weigh 110.
No, they're not
tall.
like stuck in They're just like the body.
yeah,
like,
are they Neville Longbottomed?
dead weight. No,
So I'm like frozen mid.
Okay. Yeah, scoop up Pup and just be like, go. And
Yeah.
obviously in the opposite direction.
Okay. You guys. Yeah. So you guys managed to, and from a distance you hear a, what the hell? Oh my god! Just like that's just like hopping in and out, and it's like like every jungle war movie you've ever heard of where someone's getting ambushed. You just hear these like screams, and these people kind of, and then after maybe like a couple minutes of just and oh my god, and then you just hear them all kind of just start running away, and you hear those footsteps kind of dissipate off, kind of towards the direction of the beachhead.
All right, so I think yeah, thank you for that. Also, please stop shouting.
Immediately you see those 3 kind of just pop out from different trees in different locations. They just kind of pop out, and then one of them kind of looks at you and goes, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah.
Because I'm paralyzed.
Yeah, no, I'm helping you, just sort of like.
And they kind of just like look at you and go, and they walk back up to Rezik, and they're like, blah, blah.
You go.
Blah, blah, blah.
And I look confused at them, but then like a giant red leaf pops over my head for a little bit and then ducks back down. I'm
And
like,
all 3
what?
in unison, just like it pops up, and when a second it pops up, you hear, ah. And they start, it pops up over your head, and they just all start bowing down to you. Like, furiously, just like,
Don't worry, friends. We'll find that leaf one day. All right. What's the plan?
Riz, can you do anything about these? And I kind of shake Pup.
Unfortunately, not.
This is Vinoki going.
Anyone else? No?
His ride.
Then let's keep going.
Agreed. Let's keep going.
I'm in the fetal position, so I'm getting carried like a baby. By the way.
That's amazing, like a football.
Like a football, she's like,
Just like everything. Yeah.
yeah. It's like touchdown. No.
Yeah, let's
Okay.
back to Pup's cave.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Daladar kind of agrees with you and Zuna, and they all kind of rush with you back to Pup's cave. And the wolves join up with you. They were kind of running around, running interference.
Somewhat I hope you were.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys make it back to Pup's cave, and you're exhausted. It's very late. It's maybe midnight at this point. Yeah.
Is there any covering at like the entrance that I can pull shut or anything like
Vines and
that?
stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh, hey, what about those traps you grabbed?
I set out all the trap, like 3 of them, just like right at the entrance, and try and cover them. But I tell everyone at least.
Yeah, tell the wolves about these traps.
Especially the wolf.
I relay the message.
Yes.
As you go to start setting these traps, you instantly see those 3 little guys just start staring up at the traps, and then at you, and then back down at the trap. And they both, all 3 of them go to each other and just go, like they're all trying to tell each other not to. Like they're all like the teacher in this situation being like, they all have this like kind of.
I want to walk up with like a stick and just go blah blah blah.
I think, are you still paralyzed?
Am I still paralyzed? No, JK.
No. So after about 10 minutes, you guys start to feel your limbs
Tight.
start to come back, and you don't have to be
I
shaken
pretend
around.
I'm still paralyzed, so I can be carried like a baby longer.
I don't know what's wrong. It's not happening. It's not, why is she so paralyzed?
So you guys, the second you make it back to Pups, Cornelia is suddenly like healed through divine judgment. And she's
thank
just, yeah. So you bring them a stick, and they look at the stick.
I know. I know. I wanted to show them what happens when something goes into these contraptions.
Blah 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 blah.
Okay, and then, and all 3 of them just like.
Blah. Blah 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 blah.
They both, and it seems like they know some rudimentary kung fu.
All right. I reset the trap.
Tai Chi.
Yeah, maybe that's what you're going for.
Pup,
And then-
I think you should name these creatures. Since we don't have a name for them, I think you should name them.
They have to tell me their names first. Cause like how I didn't name Mother. I didn't know her name was Mother until you guys told me her name was Mother. Cause I didn't know her name. So they had to tell me their name. So we should name this one Blah. That one Blah. And that one. Blah.
Done.
Blah, blah, blah,
Blah. And bruh.
blah.
Blah blah blah.
And one of them just kind of
Very
looks
different.
at you. You both speaking in this weird language. And one of them just looks over and goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just giggle with them.
Oh.
And it seems like they just kind of like just walk up to Rezik, and it seems like they just start following him around everywhere he goes.
Yes.
And then they're like done with the
For
trap.
him.
It seems like they have very short attention spans. Like they're really interested and hyper focused on one thing for a very short amount of time, and then they're just kind of like, nah, we're just gonna follow Rezik around. And it's almost like they're trying to mimic everything you do.
Well, good, because I was gonna say I would love to try to go around and get collect some food for the group. That way we don't go to bed with empty bellies, so they can help me with that.
Oh, I
Sure.
can tell you. I could point out good places.
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
And I just relay some places that has like
All right.
fruits or like
Yeah,
where there's
give me
like
a
rabbits and
survival
stuff.
check.
Nuts and berries.
Give me a survival check with advantage because you kind of know the better
Nasty.
spots to go. 12. All right, so you guys go scavenging.
One of those was a natural one.
Well, luckily you got a 12. Yeah. So she kind of points out these spots, and you go to collect. And the entire time, these little guys, every time you pick something, they grab a leaf or dig for a worm. It seems like they're hyper focused. One of them finds a beetle, also eats that. They're just very
these
they're
guys.
simple. They're simple creatures. You managed to find a little bit of food, Rezik. Definitely not enough to fill a belly, but enough to stave off the worst parts of hunger when shared. You find these little like raspberry bushes and such, but when you bring them back, Daladar kind of stops you. Oh, looks like you've got some provisions there. You mind if I do a little blessing on these?
Couldn't hurt. Yeah, go for it.
And he kind of holds them in hand, and then he like puts them in his other hand, just kind of waving his hand around in circles. And you see these berries that even though it's dark, that luster that a red raspberry would have is just a little bit redder, and it's just a little bit brighter, and the berries just look a little bit more plump. These look like these perfect raspberries. And he takes one, pops it in his mouth, and hands it back to you. It says, "You probably don't want more than one." And you just see that little shimmer of whatever that magic that he wields, just kind of lacing these berries.
Well, thank you. That will definitely be very helpful for the group. I appreciate it.
No problem. I can do what I can. We're all part of the resistance now.
We sure are.
Resistance!
At this point. Resistance.
Resistance. As you guys are doing that, you guys notice in the back of the cave this snoring individual who might not have even joined you guys this whole time.
Ugh, what
and
a
he's
useless-
just got this,
where he was.
you had this blonde-haired individual, and it seems like he was just sitting in the cave this whole time, snoring loudly.
Nobody wake
No
him.
one
please.
wake him.
But I'm gonna tie his shoestrings together.
Okay, give me a sleight of hand. He doesn't really have shoes. His shoes were taken from him. But you might be able to like tie the hem of his like his uniform together so that like when he gets up he just trips.
Tie his leg hair together.
Oh, I got another.
Oh God, ew.
11. Oh, okay. So as you're tying his trousers together, he just kind of oh my gosh, you're giving me quite a fright. I say, what are you doing down there?
Massaging your feet.
Oh. Well then, please carry on.
Bunyan buddies.
I just poke at them a little bit. Poke them. Does this feel good?
Well, I can tell why you're still poor. A massage like that isn't fit for a soldier.
Can I just like slap him on the head? Be like,
You absolutely can. So you slap him in the head, and he's just like, "Excuse me. Why would you do such a thing? You're such a savage. All of you savages."
I'm gonna like crouch. Like I don't need to because I'm gonna just like get down and be like, you best want to start treating us better, or we'll leave you to riders.
The riders? Well, I might say I'd fare better with their company. Maybe they would
Alright.
understand that I am a noble.
I really don't see any use for this guy. Is there a reason we're keeping him around? And look at Rezik and Dresden.
Collateral.
Unfortunately, his parents are waiting for his delivery, so yeah, we have to keep him.
He couldn't have just accidentally died on the way.
I do want to talk to you a bit, Dresden and Rezik. It seems they have, how do we say it, stained my face, with that hot piece of iron. Might there be a way we could, fix this? There's no way I could be seen in court with a face such as this.
Can I pull out my sword and be like, I can fix it for you?
If you're half as good as her massage, I'd have to say no thank you.
Let's change it a little bit if we get to the other side.
How old are you, Fitz?
I just recently celebrated my 15th birthday.
15th birthday. So in a couple of years, you grow a nice beard, cover that thing up, you'll be fine.
A couple of years?
Well, I don't think this one's growing a beard anytime soon.
What? And what will I do till then?
Well, Fitz, ask any soldier, a good scar could build character, but if you want to get rid of it, we can find someone in the city to possibly heal it up eventually.
Okay, well then go do that. What are we paying you for?
I'll get right on it after we get back to the city in a few days, so...
I can't go into the city. You'll have to sneak me in, and I can stay at my family estate and hide out until you can find a way to fix this, since it is your fault in the first place we are in this predicament.
I want to shake myself into looking like Spitz again, but without the scar.
Okay.
I can just go in like this. Can't you just transform yourself into someone like can't you make yourself me? Why don't you make yourself you with other things like I can do? Can you not do that?
Your social disposition is appalling. You would never pass as Fitz,
Appalling.
much less a noble.
Noble.
My point exactly.
Exactly.
I would like to go to sleep. I could really use a long rest. Very few spell slots.
Stabbed in the heart.
While they're arguing, I pass out the berries and I just say, hey, before you go to bed, this might help, filling your bellies a little bit. Help out with
rations for the noble.
Thanks, Rez.
Yes, no problem.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Rez.
Of course.
About time. He takes a berry, pops it, and you pop it in your mouth, and suddenly, this berry, it was just one berry, and you weren't really expecting it, but your stomach feels satiated. You feel full. You feel contented, almost warm. And yeah, you just feel full of these berries. Everyone kind of hunkers down. Fitz kind of in the back corner, still kind of upset, fuming, confused, scared. There's so many emotions going on with this guy.
We were distracted by food. Don't mind us.
Oh, freaking cake!
Giant chocolate cake that Matt's like.
Did you not bring enough for the class?
I'll make sure it stays off screen so no one sees it. So no one sees it.
The berry tasted a lot like cake.
Yeah. It sits up. Do I smell cake? Do I smell cake?
Yeah. All right. So yeah, you guys kind of hunkered down. The wolves are outside, kind of keeping watch. It's a warmish night. It's still a little breeze, but inside the cave, together you guys keep this place pretty warm. And the sun comes up, and you guys, a lot of you aren't used to, Pup is definitely used to it, but a lot of you aren't used to the fact that this thick canopy that the trees make doesn't let light in the same way. So what you feel like should be a bright morning is dim. It's very dimly lit, and it's hard to make out what time of day it is when you finally wake up. I mean, your bodies are still kind of creaky and exhausted. One, from being just in those manacles chained together for so long, and two, from just fighting for your life last night. And inhaling that poison took its toll. You know, you feel just a little bit slow and sluggish. But you all wake up feeling better and rested. You notice Daladale is outside speaking to Zuna, and they're kind of up already, kind of just checking all their stuff, making a small fire.
Is that wise?
Well, I did a preliminary scan of the area, and it seems like our friends in the Ashen Riders aren't going to come after us. It seems they fled south along the beach, along with Kalik.
Fair.
Looks like we gave them quite a fright.
Oh, we can thank those little bastards that can into trees.
Yes, strange things. And Zuna kind of looks over and she's like, they're called Azulings, if I remember correctly.
Azulings.
They're quite rare, in fact. There are many different types of these, but the ones in the forest are Azulings.
Azure or Azure?
Yeah, Azurelings.
Can I ask what else they know about these creatures? Maybe shed a little more knowledge.
I've only heard about them in books. They just seem very rare. They all seem to have very powerful innate magical abilities.
Are they all different abilities? Because we saw somebody go through a tree and was all of a sudden on top of the tree.
It does seem like these they have the gift of tree striding. I'm not sure. I know there are others like them. I've never seen them though. I just heard about them in passing. Some say that they're a good luck charm. You see them and it's a good luck thing. In our case, it turned out to be true. Absolutely.
Tree striving or striving?
Striding.
Striding.
Well, what do you recommend we do today?
Well,
clearly we've lost the trail of that one carriage we were after.
Well, we've somehow got to get into Capital City and meet up with this contact.
Fair. The bourgeois?
The bourgeois, yes.
The bourgeois?
So far, he's our only lead to someone who's going to help us join the resistance.
What exactly do you know about him?
I don't know much. All I know is he comes highly recommended from a friend of ours in Morgana. And Morgana being the elven city to the north that Capital City was at war with just 50 years ago. Lore drop. And you know it's an elven city, but you know that like humans aren't allowed at all, and other races are very suspect.
Retainer.
But, yeah. But Zuna kind of assures you that she had a very reliable source get her in contact with this guy.
Yes, I was thinking about that. When we get closer to the city, is there any way you could maybe send a letter to the bourgeois or your contact to the bourgeois? It might be easier for one person to come out of the city than 9 to try to go into the city. So maybe they can meet us outside, possibly?
Well, the only thing I know is that his residence in the Raven's Nest. Other than that, and you know Raven's Nest is just that slums district. He says, other than that, I don't have any more information. He's not really the kind of guy you find.
Right.
You might ask around and he'll find you.
But you do know that it is in fact a guy?
Well, that's what they say. At least, I have no confirmation.
Fair.
I mean, from what I've heard, it's. I mean, the bourgeois, from what I've heard, is basically a shadow. Nobody really knows if they are even real. It's just kind of a story, really.
Fair.
Well, I believe my contact, and I would bet my life that they wouldn't give me bad information.
All right.
I mean, we've
Well, I
got no
think we
other,
head back,
got no
right?
other leads. As far as it stands, we just don't have the strength or the knowledge to take on a place like the pit right now.
No, we're not heading up against a fortified location like that without
No.
inside help or backup. No. So, we need to make our way back to the city.
Yes.
On foot. How long do you think that'll take?
Well, it's about a 5-day walk, but as you know, the Ashen Riders are up and down that coast pretty consistently. So we might have to go under the guise of some kind of cover.
Well, I like the idea yesterday of trying to pretend to be, some of us pretend to be soldiers and some of us are, captured. That could
Prisoners,
be
yeah.
helpful.
I have a disguise self as well. I can change to something
Me too.
else.
All right, perhaps we make ourselves a few Ashen Riders and then escort the
Yeah,
others.
bro.
Are the Ashen Riders all human, or do they?
Yeah. So the Ashen Riders are all humans.
But Dresden killed a 15-year-old, right? So some of them are short.
There was a child.
Despite being 15, no, he was like 17, 18.
He's a
He was already
child.
he was already like, a pretty full-sized human male.
A young man.
Sure.
Whole life.
So
ahead
yeah.
Well,
I can only make myself 1 foot taller than I am.
of him. How tall are you now?
So about 3 feet.
So we make you 4. Perhaps you're one of the prisoners.
Yeah.
Yep. Child prisoner.
I can make myself.
and I turn back into like that dude. But I'm like 5'10".
Perfect. Who else can change amongst us?
Yeah, bro.
Rez, I know
Can you
can.
change your clothes too? Like, are you like in a Ashen Rider's outfit, or are you stuck in whatever clothes you have?
That is a question for Jaymes.
You you can change your body, but you can't change your clothes.
Oh, we have some dead Ashen Riders nearby.
Oh yeah, we totally
Yeah,
left those guys.
let's go steal their clothes.
So I'm
And whatever else we can find.
clothes.
Is that on the way?
Yeah, it's a little out of the way, but yeah, I mean, you kind of
You can make it
banana
on
your
work.
way to the beach fed.
All right.
And then when we
Alright.
get to the city, we can either try to forge some paperwork for everyone, or we can try to find a smuggler to get us into the city, I guess. That's 2 options.
We have plenty of time to discuss that, right?
All right, so you guys start heading out, and you find those 3, the 3 dead guardsmen. It seems like in the middle of the night when you guys ran off, that one guy that was like harpooned to the ground through his shoulder, he had gotten what you assume to be paralyzed, and was just laying there. And then at some point, the paralyzed woke up, and he just kind of pulled that thing out of his shoulder and just stumbled away at some point.
Oh, oops.
So there's still the
We
3
didn't
dead.
double tap.
By the way,
Trust me,
James,
all about double tap.
before we had left, could I have like taken some time to make some natural kind of paint, like simple, like maybe like a simple like white paint?
Yeah, give me a
And just-
survival check.
Sure.
So that
Simple
leaves,
white paint.
3 sets of
Let's
armor.
take some stone and just grind it up and
I love it when people don't ever tell me they roll and they're just like, no, I'm not gonna tell you. Not a roll.
it's a 9 though, so it probably doesn't
Okay.
work.
All right, so yeah, you managed to find some stuff that'll work. It's not great, and it's definitely something you'd have to go over again later with something a little bit more permanent, like lead paint or some kind of material that you know of.
Lead paint.
lead paint chips from Doritos.
Okay, well, as long as it's semi-functional, I just wanted to make a small mural of the wolf family and a big kind of like, outline of a bigger wolf in the center. That's the mama wolf. And I wanted to make one with like a bow as well next to her.
Okay, give me a... Oh, what would this even be? Give me, give me an intelligence roll.
Great. Yes, that's perfect. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So that would be a 16.
A 16, okay. So despite your, this isn't something that's permanent, and by the next rain, this is all coming down, but you guys kind of like aren't really paying attention, and you just see this giant mural of exactly what it explains right on the side of those stones that are the opening to Pup's home. This is beautiful mural, and you kind of see off in the distance, Rezik, these 3 little sets of eyes up in a tree in the branches, just kind of staring at you, admiring your work. And on some level, maybe it's just like the back of your head. Maybe you don't know, but you'd like to think that this painting kind of connected with them in a way that, like language was definitely been a barrier. And through this painting, you kind of feel like, what? It seems like they understand and they get it.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know.
In awe. That's the feeling you get, is awe from these 3 little pairs of eyes.
Cool. So that's what I just say to Pup. I made this, but also just, if you can, thank your mother for letting us stay here. So she literally saved our lives. So
I'm just like crying, and I go get a big hug as this giant, muscular, handsome man, and I just give you a giant, handsome man hug, and I just nuzzle into you.
Oh, yes.
Bro,
And
that's like the nicest thing I've ever seen in my entire life, bro.
Do you why I wanted to be paralyzed?
I love it.
I put a
You are too kind to us.
I put a hand on Rez's shoulder and say, if you'd done it inside, it would have lasted a little longer.
Yeah, yeah. There are times that I think I'm the intelligent one, and then you speak, and okay, let's go.
Well, the inside of her,
it is beautiful.
Too, the inside of her cave is pretty dusty and dirty, so you'd have to clean the rocks off.
I'm just taking the piss out of him. Taking the piss out of him. I'm assuming he knows what he's doing.
As it's all happening, you uh-oh. My webcam is frozen again.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes now.
Yeah.
Freezy frozy boys.
There you go.
Yeah, we didn't want to see you anyway.
Yeah,
but you were just sort of like...
I don't want to look at myself anyways. Yeah. You never know what he's thinking. The DM is just... Anywho, alright, so you guys hear this as Fitz comes out, puts his hand right on the painting and just smears a part of it, just not even paying attention. Oh, so what? Oh, you're muted.
You're muted.
It seems
how mad
very,
I am. I want to grab his hand so quick, take it off, and pop him in the face with my elbow.
All right. Yeah, roll attack. Let's see how bopping this is.
Bop it. Twist it.
7.
A 7. All right. You like whip your elbow and it flicks his cheek, and instantly he falls over and goes, "Oh, Dresden, Rezik, we're under attack! We're under attack!"
Because I'm still this handsome man, just muscles.
It's a very liberal use of the word "we."
Well, obviously, you're
gotta
my
watch
bodyguard.
where you put your hands, bro. Look at this.
Hands. And he kind of
Where you put your hand.
Truly rudimentary. At best.
Ooh. I still have a grab of his hand.
Works.
Can I
put his hand behind his back and in the owie position.
Yeah.
Say sorry. Say sorry. Go
Rezik.
armbar. The armbar owie position.
Rezik, help me. Help me.
Pop, there's no
Say
need,
sorry.
Pop. It's fine.
Say sorry.
Why should I say sorry?
Grab him by his forehead and say sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry, pup, for whatever I did to you.
Good. Say sorry to Rezik.
Rezik. I am sorry, Rezik.
It's fine. We had a very busy morning. We probably should get going.
I'm gonna kill this guy.
You commoners just have strange ways of doing things. I guess it's just your less evolved cultures. I can't really hold it against you. It's not something you had a lot of time to nurture.
I throw an arm around Fitz and walk him off a little ways, and I just go, Fitz, look at me. If you keep running your mouth like this, these people are going to actually kill you, and I'm not going to stop them.
Kill me?
Look at me.
He's not lying.
Kill you.
Okay. I just don't understand. They're just so strange.
Next time you don't understand, keep your mouth shut.
Fine. Whatever. Just kind of
talk.
Starts wandering off, upset. That's me wandering off.
Good, yeah.
No one wanders.
It's very visceral.
And that's it.
Yeah, he just kind of, and Dresden, from someone who's trained a lot of young soldiers around his age, you get that, he's got it. You seem like you got through. You got that message through.
Yeah.
Good job, old boy.
Yeah, well, we'll see if it sticks.
I doubt it for some reason. Moving on.
Same. All right, should we hit the road?
Wait. We gotta. Did we loot these bodies? Did we grab everything we needed?
You guys haven't left the cave yet. You guys can loot the bodies once you get to the. Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys make it there, and again, it's just that, amongst 3 bodies, you find 16 gold pieces, and you find 2 more short swords, 5 arrows on each body, 2 short bows, and 3 sets of that leather armor. Though one of them has, been sliced pretty bad with one of the blades, one of Zuna's blades.
All right. Well, if no one, and I kind of offer swords and anything to anyone that wants one.
Short bow.
I would take a sword or a bow.
I think there's only one, right?
There's
No,
2
there was-
short bows.
2 short bows and 2 short swords.
Fantastic.
And that's in addition to the 1 sword we already have and 2 bows that we had from previously.
Yeah, and Trust, you had found a short sword and a short bow from last night, because there were 3 bodies. There's 3 bodies. Each of them had a short bow. Each of them had 5 arrows. Each of them had a short sword. And then the dark gray leather armor.
All right, I'll take a second short sword if there's one still available.
Is there still that big pole around?
Yes. The poles are just the splintered pieces of the cart. Yeah, so there'd be more.
I'm gonna take that big pole.
All right. And we'll just say it's a metal quarterstaff for intents and purposes.
Yeah.
I'll take a short sword if no one else is going to claim one.
Should we divide the money up as equally as possible, or make someone treasurer of the group?
Who's good with money? Who's good with math?
Well, I'm pretty good with maths.
All that education.
We could get we could all get 2 gold pieces, and then there would be 4 left over, right? 16? Did you say 16?
16 gold pieces, yeah.
Well, that seems equitable. 2 apiece and 4 for the group.
Sounds good.
Are we gonna divide this amongst our other friends though too? We have our 2 NPC friends. No, we're just...
Did you want any of this gold, sir?
Oh, well, if you don't mind, a couple of gold pieces might be, I don't have many places to spend them, though I live in the forest, but having a couple, since we're going to Capital City, might not be a bad idea. And so they take
the other 4.
Okay, so they take the 4 gold.
And none for Fitz.
Very graciously.
We have 8 silver too, I believe.
We have 8 short swords.
8 silver.
Oh, we do have silver. Yeah.
Fitz is back there just juggling short swords.
Just giant sacks of money.
If there's a short sword, but I don't know if there is.
I already have a short, so
Everybody
feel free
has
to
one.
take that.
I have 2.
Wow.
All right, should we go?
What about this 8 silver that we have? Do we want to divide that up as well?
I don't need it. I don't really care. It's just shiny.
Yeah, go ahead and keep that,
Just keep it.
Kellwise.
I'll hold on to it for us.
And then I pickpocket it.
Are you gonna pickpocket it?
Later.
All right, give me a d20 roll, and then we'll talk about it later. Just text me a result.
I won't bother.
All right, so Kellwise, you kind of feel Cornelia just kind of pilfering through your pockets a little bit, almost. It's hard to tell.
Massage.
Why do you like to give massages so much?
Hey, you. Where's my underwear?
Hello?
That was like, what's it called? That was my favorite part of Zoolander, when he just pulls the underwear out
Yeah.
without taking his hands off. You're just like, oh my god. He's gone full monk.
Oh, good God.
All right. Anyway, so you guys...
James, can I try to make a sling out of some of the material, like the clothing material from one of these guys? Like take some leather and I guess a string or two. And...
Yeah. Give me another intelligence, just an intelligence check.
Okay. 13.
A 13, yeah. Because a sling is pretty easy, I guess, mechanically to make if you know how to make one. Yeah, you managed to fashion like a basic sling, and you'd have to just find the right size rocks as you go, because as you know, like having a nice sized bullet is half the battle.
Yeah, I mean, I've made
the
some
other
before,
half is
so.
colored lasers.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So you have a sling. All right. So you guys kind of hit that beach head, and you see like maybe a mile off in the distance the shore with the waves coming in. And you don't notice a lot of people on the beach. It's this very wide beach.
Is the body of water off to the west?
The west. Yeah.
Okay. So we're headed
Water
south.
to the west, and you guys are headed south, and the forest you were in was to the east.
Okay.
The forest, Hudsonshire. Yes, you guys start heading down, and this is called Blister Beach because the sand itself has a lot of that. The mountains to your the mountains to your just to your southeast are all made of this black. They're called the Ebon Mountains, and they have this black rock, and that black rock has kind of mixed with the sand, and the sand here is like a really dark, almost burnt color, and so it got its name Blister Beach because of the sand. It's still soft, and it's still like not a problem. It's not like hot or anything or sharp. It's just got this darkish hue to it.
Oh.
I'll collect some black rock while we're passing through.
Yeah, give me a survival check as you're kind of walking through.
Sure. Yeah, this is just for paints later if I need it.
Oh, he's a little
Survival.
painter.
It's a panther. Then 18.
An 18. All right, cool. Yeah, you managed to find about 6 or 7 rocks. Let me see, 7 rocks. You find 7 like the right size, right shape. Half the battle is won.
And then our blah, va, and blau still with us.
So yeah, you noticed that they were following you in the forest, and once you hit the beachhead, you notice that they're not there anymore. They just kind of
They're
disappeared.
forest creatures.
No more ba.
Yeah. Kind of seems like they live in the forest. They stay in the forest. No goodbye or anything like that though. They just kind of just stopped following you.
It's nature's way.
Your nature's way.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, do we just head down the beach? Is there a way to head down while maintaining some sort of cover?
Oh, I guess I'm gonna turn into like a captured child. I don't know. Not a tiefling. If they're like, looking for a tiefling and this, I'm gonna disguise myself as a 4 foot tall, scruffy human child.
Okay, well, you would know that like disguise self only really lasts an hour.
Oh, okay.
So
then I'll wait
just
till we
keep
see
that in
people.
mind. But yeah,
that's
if people were to come up to you, yeah, you would
walked
just.
away there.
Mhm. And we have Rezik. You and Dresden are in this armor. Did you put on the Ash Rider armor? And then
Did
Pup
I
as well?
not?
No,
I
yeah.
did.
Sorry. I was getting there. It's easy. Just those two are human all the time, so it's easy to be
That's
like,
fair.
shoo in.
Can I put on like the clothing but not the armor, because the armor would hinder my spell casting?
I mean, their uniform really is just that gray leather armor, so
Okay.
you don't have to put it on.
Then yeah, I won't put it on. I have a disguise spell too, so I'll use that if I have to.
Okay, yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be much harder to convince them you're an Ashen Rider if you're not, at least in uniform.
Mhm.
Okay, so the 3 of you have them, and then the other 3, you guys are just kind of. How are you escorting
Pretending to be
captives?
should we-
Was there any
we
like
see any
rope
rope?
we could find? Yeah, exactly. To like make fake they tied us together.
Yeah, not really any rope. There's still that chain that you guys had broken off of the manacles. You could have grabbed that.
Can we fake it with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could probably pretty convincingly,
Alright.
Anyone who's
do that.
a captive, give up your weapons, and if things get hairy, we'll toss them back to you.
Oh, okay. I hand mine to Rezik just because he also does magic, so I automatically trust him more.
Fair.
And I begrudgingly hand mine
makes sense.
as well.
Okay, and then we'll just take Cornelia's from her by force.
Yes.
And
Mine.
we'll drive you all forward. And if
Yeah,
we
and
come across anyone, play meek, right?
and you guys would have remembered, like they have the quiver on their back and the bow, and then they have the sword kind of at the right side is the standard just position of uniform. It seems, despite the fact that these guys are pretty gruff and they don't you were in the commission, which is like the Royal Army, and you obviously understand like tactics and the flow of a battle and stuff, and it seems like these guys were pretty all over the place. Their training was less like cohesive than the both of you in the commission, but despite that, it does seem like, surprisingly, their uniforms look nice, at least their armor, and then their swords are in good condition, and their bows, and everyone seems to have some kind of uniformity to them. More so than you would have thought, but less so than what you're used to in the commission.
Well, we've seen how they act. Act like them.
Yeah.
Let's head south.
Onward.
So you guys head south for a full day, and you don't really see anybody along the way. It's just beaches and sand, just black sand, black mountains. The Potsenshire ends pretty quickly into your east now is just these big, towering black mountains that have this kind of like igneous look to them, and just waves coming in and out. And it's just that sound. Kel-wise, this is very familiar to you, and it's very comforting. This is kind of like you're at home. But for everybody else, this is like, it's a little bit nerve-wracking. Just that the sound of the sea, and then just nothing else, no other people. It's strange, and doesn't seem like it should be that big of a deal. But as the sun starts to set across the ocean, as you guys are walking, the sun being to the west of you, it just those mountains lit up just look taller and more imposing. And it's almost like they grow as the sun is going down. And as you guys start to reach the end of your day, you do notice there's just a small family kind of perched up in one of the little areas to the in one of the rocks of the mountains. There's like a little nook, and you see this small family just kind of huddled together, maybe 3 people. They seem pretty.
What do they look like?
They're humans. They have pretty ragged clothing, and they're just kind of sitting there. They don't look like they're, aggressive or anything like that. You probably assume they're just, they're those of you who are from capital city, you see these all the time. Like the pitch is this giant kind of ghetto area outside of the city for all the people who don't have papers or anything like that. And you see just tons of people. There's hundreds and hundreds of people who just live outside of the city as like beggars or, conmen, or people just trying to sneak in. And then, so these people just look like, there's a lot of people like that. And some people will, and it's a pretty dangerous place. So.
And we're just walking past them?
Yeah, you're just walking past. You just see these people just hanging out.
Do we know? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask. I just want to know do we know how many days walks away from our destination we are?
Yeah, it's approximately 4 to 5 days walk.
Okay, that's okay.
Yeah.
And then as we're walking past them, I just want to go up to them and just give them a little wink, and then hand them my share of my gold, just one little piece of gold because it's shiny.
You walk up and you notice it's a woman, middle-aged woman, and what you thought might have been her husband, but it looks like a younger girl, maybe early 20s, and then a very, very, very young girl, maybe 4 or 5 years old, and they're all just kind of huddled into this cove, trying to keep out of the ocean breeze. And you see her face, and they all look pretty emaciated. And when you look down, and you hand them this gold, their eyes, it's almost like they don't even recognize it. They're just looking at this gold, and this woman just kind of stares at you like she doesn't understand.
I mean, for all intents and purposes, or whatever that phrase is, Pup doesn't either. It's just shiny. So for me, I just gave them something that was pretty.
And you give them this gold, which
shiny.
One gold is a lot of money, much less 2. It might be more money than they've seen in months and months and months and months. And you just see this woman, the older woman's hand just start trembling, and these tears just start welling up in her eyes, and you notice it's almost like she's mustering the last tears she has left, and she's just she just has this look, this grateful look. And she looks you up and down. You're still in your big, huge buff man.
Oh, I'm a handsome buff man.
Yeah. So she's just like, she's so in awe. She doesn't even reply. She just kind of takes it and puts it close to her heart and like closes her eyes and is just nodding at you slowly.
It is very shiny.
I turn to Rez. Seems like a reasonable place to stop for the night, hey?
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Do we have?
I would like to forage for food for us
Yeah.
and for this party of people that we just came across.
All right, yeah.
I would love to help with that, but yeah, that sounds great.
So, yeah, with the materials you have, like you don't have obviously any fishing wire, but you might be able to use some cloth or some clothes or something to fashion just the most ridiculous looking fishing pole ever, and use your skills.
Great.
I mean, I also have my quarterstaff thing. Can I like?
Yeah, that would actually be perfect as a fishing pole base for the rod.
Oh,
All
see,
right.
I was thinking more
Let's
of a stabby the fish in the water.
Trust. Do you
That
have
word.
Do you have another thunder wave?
For what?
I'm thinking of fishing with dynamite.
Oh,
Typically gather.
it
and
would
hunt
just
for my
push them
food
away from us.
and help. It's true.
It doesn't do any damage?
Oh, yeah,
was that, Melissa?
2d8 thunder damage. Yeah.
Could kill a lot of fish.
I could try. I gotta keep one slot open for disguise self, though.
Of course. Rez, do you have
Are we
anything?
about to go to sleep?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we're about to go to sleep, yeah, I'll thunder
That's the
wave
thing.
that water.
All right. Sorry, what did you say, Melissa? I feel like you were saying something and I couldn't hear you.
I'll help.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought I missed something. All right. So, Rezik, you and Kelwise, give me intelligence checks to build this makeshift fishing rod.
So 23.
Oh shit. Okay.
3.
All right. So, Kelwise, you know what you want. You just have no idea how to get there. Luckily, Rezik takes this idea you have for a fishing rod and kind of mixes it all together with the pole that Pup has given, and you make this long, interesting-looking fishing pole, but it seems usable nonetheless. Yeah, and you kind of use like some, I don't know, chains and some of the trinkets and stuff that you found to make like a makeshift hook, and you're like, maybe, just maybe, if the stars align correctly, we'll be able to catch some fish.
Let's have at it.
All right.
If someone wants to wade out with me and face me towards the shore, I can thunder wave at the shore and push fish.
Yeah, so someone's gonna have to.
I'd like walk over and just like my giant hulking man muscles.
Yeah, someone's gonna have to hold you up, and then someone's gonna have to scout. So if Cornelia wants to try and scout for fish to find like there, boom. We'll try this.
So happy.
All right. So first, Kelwise, give me a survival check, but with disadvantage, just because this is like not ideal conditions.
Okay. That's. I'm sorry. What check?
A disadvantage survival check.
Survival. 8.
8. All right. This rod is surprisingly well made, considering the circumstances. Unfortunately, you're trying to fish with this thing, and you're like, I got no bait. I can't cast very far at all, so I have to like wade pretty far out. And because I'm so small, like I can't really go that far out. You know, you're used to either fishing off of like some kind of dock or a pier or a boat or something like that. So you're just like way out of your element here. Cornelia, give me a perception check with disadvantage, because I mean fishing isn't your thing, and you're trying to look underwater, and you're pretty small as a gnome.
Why don't she get on why doesn't she get on Dresden's shoulders and look down at the water?
Yeah, can't do
Smart.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Watchtower.
All right. All right. Roll
I can
one
take
more
my
time. Just roll again, but roll just normal
that.
because of your giant height advantage.
11.
11? All right.
Yeah.
So you guys are kind of wandering around waiting for that like pull. And Cornelia, you see what you think is a big school of fish.
Uh-oh.
Okay. There's some fish over here.
She points them out to you, Trust. She's just like, there.
Thunderwave is it's just a constitution saving throw on the fish's part, so.
Yeah. So, all right. So, boom, this thunderclap explodes out of the ocean as all this, like,
Yeah.
help just
Trust.
all over the place, and everyone around is just rained down on with just
Fires out of my horns
seaweed
too, so I'm just
and everything. You're just covered in like sea viscera.
sushi.
Sushi.
Two small little fish just gonna float up to the surface.
Damn it.
Like, they're like, I don't know,
Anchovies.
6 to 8 inches long. They're not anchovies.
That's better.
They're like 6 to 8 inches. They're like small, like a trout. I know trout are like ocean fish.
Sea trout.
Yeah, sea trout. There you go.
At least a C+.
Saltwater trout.
Fantasy land.
Yeah, these two fish kind of pop up.
What was that?
Yeah. I mean, you can try again with your last spell slot, or you can save it for.
We can try again if we're going to sleep.
All right.
If you want to save your spell slot, I have an idea.
have a ready.
Are there any like birds around anywhere?
Birds?
Yeah.
Hmm.
No. Are you about to magic missile some
It's pretty late,
seagulls?
so a lot of the birds you see, like a bunch of the birds are way up on the mountaintop. They're pretty far up. It's kind of
James,
like.
are you saying after the massive explosion, the birds aren't around?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, the nests are like way up on top of the mountain.
Okay, I'll just try to gather berries again, I guess then.
And there's not really like there's
yes.
no
Wait, but we have
Sandberries.
there's
the
no
guy
berries.
whose name I cannot remember. He can bless the fish, do the
Daladale?
Jesus thing.
Peru.
He could.
One
my
bite of
foraging
fish and
yields
we'll be
2
good.
times the amount of food.
What was that?
There you go. My foraging yields 2 times the amount of food because we're at the coast.
Yes. Unfortunately, your foraging was 0.
Galador.
Didn't do so great.
Yeah.
0
No,
times
I mean,
0
it's
is 0.
yes, but unfortunately, it just do you guys can try one more time. Maybe having a different spotter would help. Maybe somebody else could help spot better.
What?
I don't know.
Someone collect those 2 fish though, because
I
we're
mean,
not gonna lose those.
I'm looking down the tieflin. Do I see anything?
Through my horn sights.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's
I
losing
like
his
take out a little
mind.
red dot. So red dot
I'm
go
reaping
like on her
all
head.
the benefits.
Can we use some of the fish that we've caught to bait the hook at least? when this
Yeah.
goes terribly
Fish
wrong.
don't eat
Absolutely.
other fish. It's not piranha.
How do you?
Fish do eat.
Fish almost
What?
exclusively eat other fish.
It's not like they eat cows and stuff.
They could eat worms.
Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on what your definition of fish is.
I'm what
Fish-
you gonna
yeah.
say.
Sea worm.
Yeah. You could try that.
If we lose one of these
I'm
fish,
gonna try
you
it.
decided to use it as bait.
Just a bit of the fish.
No,
It's
you
just-
just
it's
gotta cut it open, and then you take whatever is inside its stomach.
Yeah,
so
we're
just
there
not
you
gonna
go.
eat anyway.
Some of the
and
guts.
that's bait. Yeah.
Also,
Oh, can we
can
chum
I
the
shoot
water?
her again?
I'm gonna get a shark.
You guys see a fairly large size, what looks like almost like a dolphin, flipping around in the water, just
You wanna?
and it seems to dive under, and then pops out right next to you, spits out a fish, dives back in, grabs a couple fish, comes back, spits out a few more fish.
Everyone witnessed the
And
DM
after
pity on
after
us.
5 or 6 of those,
It's a
you see just-
dolphin ex machina.
and this dolphin just quickly morphs into Daladale.
Oh.
What the hell?
He's like, he's kind of out of
This
breath.
guy doesn't quit.
You freaky old man.
It's been a
You freaky
It's a-
old man.
long time since I've had to use any kind of amphibious creature, but here we go. I got some fish tonight, huh?
Ugh,
Not that I
Can you
didn't.
teach me how to do that?
oh my god,
I
you're so
like-
useful.
I try really hard and like just look like a deformed like half.
Give me a performance check.
It's 'cause I physically don't think that I can.
Well, we'll see.
It's like in Moana when
18.
Maui's like half shark.
18.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like Victor
Alright.
Crumb.
You kind of-
Yes.
You turn into this like silver, smooth-looking humanoid. So your skin has that like that smoothness, and you kind of have this like fin that's like really clean out of your head, and you
Are
kind
you
of look
so-
like Ultraman. That Ultraman kind of look to you, and you look pristine. Unfortunately, your body still has, you know, for the most part, 10 fingers, 10 toes,
Mhm.
and you know, just a
Yep.
sleek, like thick, almost leathery skin.
All
Yeah.
right, mate. Let's get back to shore. You freak me out.
And now I'm staying like this.
You're going to scare those children.
I gave him a shiny.
The children are pretty far up the
Shiny.
inland. They're up against the rocks, but
Yeah, but if she stays
you just
like
might
that,
be able to see that for the moonlight shimmering off the ocean.
she's
The Loch,
such a
the Loch Ness monster.
All right, should we head back?
Call me Nessie.
Fuck this monster.
Yeah, let's put a fire and cook these fish.
Someone build a fire. Yeah.
Oh
Alright,
yeah, got it. Easy. Firebolt on some wood that I properly placed. Just a gentle firebolt, nothing crazy.
It's like Salt Bay with like just fire though.
I find
Yeah.
replaced wood and I light it on fire.
Sparks out of your fingertips.
All right, there's a little bit of driftwood on the beach. There's enough that you could make a proper beach fire. Yeah, and you sprinkle some embers onto this thing, and it ignites. And yeah, it's a pretty uneventful evening, and you guys are just hanging out, and you notice Pup. It's maybe a little different for you being out of the forest. You can just see the stars so well. It's not like you haven't looked up at the sky before or climbed a tree, but from out here, it's just from all sides. You can just see everything in this expanse of this huge starscape with thousands and thousands and thousands of lights.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it's a pretty uneventful night. You just have that ocean coming in, and coming out. It's a little chilly on the beach. Some pretty strong winds. Luckily, though, you guys were all able to procure some clothing to protect you from the environment. And you guys drift off to sleep.
Before that happens, I just want to make sure we invite that family over.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm gonna just get really
and
sad
cuddle.
that I don't have any of my instruments because it's such a beautiful night. Just be like, "Ugh,
Seriously.
don't have my lute."
I'm also just gonna
Sad.
shake back to my normal.
Well, you know, you have
Are you?
the instrument of the soul, which is the voice. Are you proficient in that?
I'm not yet. Oh my! Start talking like you.
Well, I'd see that as a compliment.
Not,
think I have a lot of nice voice.
not ready for that yet. I'm quite used to my instruments, but maybe someday I'll be brave
What do
enough
you
to
play?
use just my voice.
Well,
What do you like to play?
I like to play a lot of instruments. The flute, the pan flute, the lute, a lyre. You know, I used to play in a tavern.
What was the tavern called? What's a tavern?
Oh, taverns like. No, I'm going Irish. Damn it, James.
And then
What's a tavern called?
Zuna
mean,
pops
this is
What's
a
a tavern
tavern.
called? A tavern's like a bar.
Like this bar?
Just like that bar. Except wetter.
Oh,
Where you find
Uh,
that drink you were given earlier, yesterday, whenever that was.
A drink? She wants some of your drink.
well, I hope that someday we'll get to hear your playing. I haven't heard a proper musician play in a very, very long time. Basically, since I was home.
I am a bit traumatized right now, but someday soon I hope my spirit will come back and I'll be able to sing songs of joy and sadness and fun and all the likes.
Well, we look forward to it. And you kind of sit down and you notice like Zuna and Daladale, they're pretty upbeat people normally, but at night when you kind of leave them to their own thoughts, you definitely feel this like just this blanket of gloom kind of blanket them, blanket of Zoom blanket them. Yeah. This like it's hard to tell, but it's just like this inner darkness that you don't experience any other time, and it's just when you leave them alone, they kind of daze off. Their eyes glaze over a little bit. Their breathing is a little bit more shallow. They just seem a little less alive, and you guys invite that family over, and they eat. They just devour this fish. Especially the little one just shoves the fish in her face and just chews up every last ounce, and then she starts chewing on the bones. All the bones, she's just like gnawing on them, and she's just got this big old toothy grin. Despite being, her age, she's just got only a few teeth in her mouth still. And the older woman, takes a small portion of her fish and cuts it in half, and then gives the other half to the child, who just happily starts scarfing it down, as well as this young woman just kind of just savoring every last ounce of these small treats to them. This rare occasion where they aren't being attacked or assaulted or victimized by somebody or something, and they just kind of huddle together in this threesome and fall asleep. And you just see the little kid just kind of on her back, arms played out, just so so innocent almost, right? It's just almost like she doesn't have a care in the world right now.
Before, if there's a chance before the mother actually falls asleep, I'd like to sit down next to her and talk to her if there's a minute.
Yeah.
So just sit down. Mother, where are you from?
Well, originally we lived within the city, and my husband was a trader. He would trade for leathers and other clothing materials, but when he didn't return, we had no choice. We had to leave to find out what happened to him, but very quickly when we left, everything was taken from us. Our papers, our money, our food, and we tried to live in the pitch for as long as possible.
It's not easy.
You see these tears start forming in her eyes, and she's just, that's no place for a young girl. It's just,
You're right.
It's no place for anyone, much less a human being. So we thought we'd try and make our way maybe to Seacrest or farther north. I hear
How
there's
far
a
is Seacrest?
Seacrest is maybe about equal distance north. So you guys were about halfway between Seacrest and you guys were on horseback with Fitz, and it was supposed to be about a week trek on horseback. So you know it would maybe be it was about 5 days north. So this family's making maybe a week and a half trek on foot, maybe even slower with the young girl. And then she starts to mention other towns farther north, and the only one you know of, there's a small fishing town called Kerplunken. And that's maybe a couple, 3 or 4 weeks north. So that's like quite a ways up the coast, especially on foot.
How stout does she look? Does she look strong? Does she look...
She looks very thin. She looks very, very, very thin. The little kid seems to be a little on the plump side, but it seems like they've been, anything they do find, they've been giving her the lion's share. And the young 20-ish. She seems pretty on the thinner side, not nearly as bad as the older woman, but thinner.
Do any of you know how to use a sling?
A sling? No. I was a seamstress. That was my profession. No.
Fair.
My family's not... This is not what we were prepared for in life.
I take my my second sword and just sort of place it at her feet. Worst case, you swing that at someone, right?
And she kind of picks it up delicately, and it's very, very heavy in her arms.
Maybe
and she's just like, and the way she's holding it, you can tell it's just like, it's almost like it's something, it's terrifying, it's frightening, this thing, not just what it is, but what it represents to her. You can tell she's just very, very uncomfortable with it, and yet she grips it tightly, and she just kind of nods at you and places it down by her and her daughter.
I hope you'll never need that. But if you do, look as if you know how to use it. Right? You may not need to swing if they think you can use it.
And you can tell she kind of takes that in and nods. This woman seems pretty wise.
And she really takes in what you're saying. I will.
I put 2 gold in my sling, and I just place it before them. Not really letting the gold show, kind of hiding it, so they can find it later. And I just say, this is a little lighter, but someone like this one over here can swing a sword pretty well, but I'm better with this. So maybe someone more my stature could use that to hunt or, whatever you need.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Okay, and then they all kind of just huddle back up into that family unit. Of course, the little one in the middle. And it seems like they just pass out.
Okay.
And what do you guys kind of notice? You see, like, Dalladale, he's had more than 2 or 3 sips of this jug that he keeps sipping on. And you see despite the fact that he's got fur and dark blue-black skin, very like Nightcrawler from the X-Men movies, that kind of color. Mm-hmm. You see just a little bit of rose in his cheeks. And every so often, just a... and then he kind of just dozes off.
Can I poke Kelwise?
Yeah.
What?
This is where you're from, right?
This is where I'm from.
Oh, can you? I've never been outside of where I'm from before. Can you tell me about where you're from? How did you live here forever? Where's your house? Do you have a mother? Is that something that everyone has?
Well, that's a lot of questions. I'm part of a small nomadic group of people, halflings.
Wait, I thought that she was a gnome.
I'm a gnome.
What?
Aren't you nomadic?
But
Serious. Pup is serious.
No.
Kate's the worst. Pup is serious.
Kate, awful. we all regret Kate being with us.
I have like dug myself into a little sand nest, and I'm just like half asleep, like.
Okay, so nomadic, continue.
So yeah, part of a small nomadic enclave, just a few families of halflings and other random stragglers. We mostly spend our time and have made a living traveling up and down the coast, fishing, trading, doing whatever we can to kind of make a living, amongst this sort of land and this population. Occasionally we come across other people and we're able to trade with them as well. But generally speaking, we're just a nomadic group who lives near the coast.
Oh, that's cool. Where do they all go?
Well, we don't know. I got separated from them. I was captured by the Ashen Riders when I was out with my brother.
Oh.
And I'm not sure where everyone is anymore. Maybe north of here, maybe south of here.
You guys not have trails? Because sometimes when I go out, I have trails, and it's the same trails every time. You guys have the same trails every time?
We travel mostly up and down the coast, so yeah, generally speaking, it's the same trail. We may be able to catch up with my family group, but again, it's a very small group. It's only a few families, maybe 12, 16 people. It's not a lot of people, and generally they're in carts, horse-drawn carriages. So that would be great if we could find them. It would be amazing to see my tribe again, but until then, we'll have to see how it goes.
We can see your mother?
My mother and father were killed when I was younger by a creature whose name I can't remember at the moment,
Bullet.
but it's a land shark. Bullet. They had a different name, but they were killed by a creature when I was younger, a land shark, and sadly that's
really
all that's
sad.
left of my family is my brother, and then I have an aunt and an uncle as well.
Oh. Can I ask you something?
Yes.
What's a father?
Father is
I thought
like
you called mother the leader. So is father also the leader?
Mother is always the leader.
Oh, yeah, that's what Rez taught me.
Father is the second in command to the mother.
Oh.
Makes sense. So Kate.
Oh. Oh, they're both gone? That's really sad. So we have to find your brother.
We do. Yeah, he's the last closest family that I have.
Yeah, we'll find him. Don't worry.
I believe it. I believe it. We will.
I look over to Cornelia and I just I ask, who was the person on the card to you?
So that was my dear friend. Her name is Myrtle Nimblefeet. And we would just, get into a little trouble occasionally, but we were just wandering around and yeah. She doesn't live with me though in my little family area. I am also a forest dwelling creature. But yeah.
What kind of trouble would you get in?
It was good trouble. It was helping. If there were just occasional things that people didn't need, we would pick them up.
Makes sense. And if they caught you, you're just giving a massage, right?
People love my massages. Nobody complains.
And while the group's talking, I want to use a silent image over the campfire.
Okay.
And just kind of use the embers and because I don't have my sketchbook, so I want to draw something right now because I'm just bored. Just want to be able to draw in the embers creatures we saw, the last couple of days, and people we saw, the little Azerlings and the bullets, and
you kind of use your silent image as a paint board, and you use it as this canvas to just paint above the embers of the flame. So you guys are kind of watch as this blank kind of canvas just kind of materializes, and then Rezik, just using his hands, paints these pictures of the different animals, the Azurlings, and their little leaves that were planted on their head, and their big old black eyes, and then some of the Ashen Riders that you fought, and the giant wolves that they met in Pup's house, and some of these trees and the carts, and just kind of the adventures that you had, the exploding ocean with two little fish, and the viscera of the ocean just kind of laid all about you, in your hair, on your shoulders, all kind of just all into one just big montage.
And it's almost like I'm I'm legit sketching, I'm making mistakes and I'm taking them out and then replacing it with something else, and I'm just kind of I'm just bored, so I'm kind of just casually just doing it.
Yeah.
Makes me think of Pocahontas when they're the images come out and
yeah, very much like that. You guys see Zuna is fast asleep. Daladale is again just kind of hiccuping to himself in a half-dazed drunken stupor. And then those three are huddled together. Those three heading north are huddled together.
And I just want to ask Trust, so if you don't mind, what's your story? I don't want to be insensitive, but if you don't mind telling us.
Right, well, I never had a family. I grew up on the streets in the city. I got taken in by, a tavern owner and taught to play, really. And I played at the tavern, and I had a friend Pick, but he disappeared, and someone came and wanted me to be my patron, and they were going to pay me good money, and I went to go there, and then I was captured, and now I'm here, and don't really know what to do because I don't have anyone.
Wait, you were captured in the city and then taken out to the pits?
Well, I was on my way. I was traveling to Seacrest to my new patrons, and then they took me before I made it. Now with all your stories, I'm starting to think that Pick might be in the pits, but I really don't know. People disappear. He's just off the streets.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm sure you and Pick were, played wonderfully together. So hopefully one day we can see that.
Well, he mostly just pickpocketed people, but maybe one day when I get an instrument back, I'll be able to sing again.
Sorry, I assumed Pick was, but
It's his name.
pickpocketing. Yes, of course. Yes.
No, someone else taught me how to play, not Pick. No one took him off the streets. I was luckier than him. But we did get into a spot of trouble now and then.
Well, it seems like we all have something, in common. We all have friends that are possibly at the pits. So we have a mission.
Rez, have we heard your story? Would you mind telling us how you arrived here?
Oh, I mean, Dresden said kind of earlier we were with Fitz here, and his family was paying us to bring him to them, and we just got caught in the middle of the forest. So
yeah, but what about?
But if he's a noble, why'd they take of you? They don't take nobles.
I don't really know, actually. It's a good question. Why do you think, Dresden?
Well, what proves you're a noble once you're in the pit? Nothing.
How annoying you are.
A body's a body.
Won't his family go after them, though? They've got money.
Not if they don't know where he is.
What if they don't care where he is?
I'd look over at whatever the hell Fitz is doing right now and think,
Fitz is,
she might be right.
Fitz is fast asleep, but he was surprisingly quiet all day. After you had that talk with him, he's just kind of like, shit, are they gonna kill me?
Yes. I will not hold back.
Were we taking him to Capital City?
No, you guys were heading to Seacrest, but he as he said, like, he's been marked a white one with that big old brand on his face, like a criminal brand. So he's basically like, I can't see anybody from my old life until we get this thing taken care of, or else, it'll be public shame for my whole family.
Gosh.
So he's kind of beholden to us right now.
Yeah.
Which we can use.
All right,
I just start snoring.
As I doze off. Kel, your home is beautiful. Sleep.
Thanks, Pop. Likewise.
Nuzzle in.
Precious pup.
All right, you guys all fall asleep under
I'm
the
taking
night
a watch.
sky. Yeah, and you take a watch. And it's pretty dark. The embers of the fire kind of start burning out, and you're just watching the sky. Nothing seems to, nothing out of the ordinary seems to happen. You do off in the distance in the ocean, just every so often, you do see some kind of creature come up. You hear a really light splash, and it goes down. And this happens for maybe 30 minutes, and then whatever it was that was in the ocean kind of fades off. And it's almost comical to you, but you hear Dalladale snoring, you hear Trust snoring, you hear Fitz snoring. Melissa's like, no.
You do it.
Yeah, and it's almost like, but it takes you back to your times when the decades you've spent in the military in these bunkers and barracks that you spent so much time in, the training camps you ran, things like that. Just this big groups. It just feels so much more at home to you than that patrol duty. So, we're all switched around now. Anyways, yeah, you guys kind of. Kate's huge now. There you go. Yeah, and then you kind of the soft breeze of the ocean just kind of lures you to sleep after a couple hours.
Yeah, I wake up Rez right before I go to sleep. I just kick him. He's used to it.
Yep. I'm on it.
At least a couple, right?
Yep.
And then I pass out. I mean, we know we can't. We know we can't get like the full night, but I know I can't go to sleep without at least being like, all right, I'll watch for a little bit. It's just too ingrained.
All right, Rezik. Same thing. It's a pretty still evening. You find a couple of good-sized pieces of driftwood that you might be able to just dig in the sand with and paint or sketch in the sand. But other than that, yeah, nothing really piques your interests.
Good.
And then the night's pretty steady.
Right on. Good.
Yeah, and then you kind of spend 2 hours staying up, and then your eyelids start getting heavy. Are you gonna go to sleep?
Oh gosh, it switched again.
It's me. It was me. It was all my fault. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
It was literally all me.
Yeah, I'd probably ask if anybody else wants to. Let's see, who could I ask?
They're all asleep right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I would ask.
You and I would have.
You watch over the group for the last.
I mean,
watch.
we're pretty far out there. You know, you and I would have talked about this during the day. We're pretty far out there. I think mainly my taking a watch was just like, I don't know how not to at this point. You know.
No, it's a good idea. We should definitely keep a watch for creatures or bandits. No, not a bad idea.
But I'm asleep now.
So I wake Kelwise and I say, hey, sorry, do you mind just watching over the group just for the last watch here? We're looking out for bandits and
Not at all.
Thank you.
So I'll take my turn, as watch.
All right, Kelwise. Yeah, you start. You're sleeping, and give me a perception check.
Oh, natural 20.
Yeah. You hear something coming, and you, at first you were like, "Is that what I think it is?" And the sun is just coming up. Beams of light are just starting to hit the beach, and you kind of peer off into the distance. You're a halfling, so you don't have dark vision, but you're starting to peer off into those beams of light, and you see a couple dark figures. Because of the light, you can't really make out any features, but you hear dark figures kind of coming towards you pretty quickly, and you hear just ever so slightly like the sound of a horse neighing. And as they get closer and closer, you notice there's a group of people on horseback riding straight for your group, and they'll probably be on you within a couple minutes, and they've probably already seen you.
Well, very quickly.
That's where we're gonna leave it for this week.
The worst.
Yes!
We did it!
Sorry, my brain is going into mush mode. Thank you so much for everyone who joined us. It's amazing that you were here with us. I really, really, really appreciate it. I know everyone here really, really appreciates it. Any last words? You have 5 seconds. 5.
Thanks for being
Thank you
here.
for joining us.
3,
See you next week.
2, 1,
Bye-bye.
0, -1, -2, -3.
That's